It's probably fine. It's fine. I was in Dave's basement, and I heard the furnace running, and I thought this not so good.
It's a new thing people are trying. It's central air and heating.
It's a way
brand
to
new
heat
thing.
your house.
I came up with it. I invented this. I discovered central heating.
It's going to make a lot of people really warm.
Really warm.
And then at other times cold as well.
Right. But
As well.
I only,
as if you would say as well.
As well, yeah.
Oh, God. What an idiot.
Idiot. Oh, you're so fucking stupid. How dare you? How dare you make jokes on this comedy podcast? Is this a comedy podcast?
You can sneeze.
Ooh, bless you. Ooh, bless you again.
Yes, I am.
Oh.
Anyway.
Hello and welcome to the
We're
Three
back.
Dude Podcast.
Yeah.
Woo!
We're busy.
We're beezy?
Yeah.
We beezy?
Wheezy beezy.
Breezy, little breezy beezy.
Big
With
beezy
the-
and the little Cz.
Threezy deezy peasy.
Don't say little CZ. I'm still hungry.
I am too. I think I might order a pizza. Pizza. I love pizza.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing this week?
Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
I had a nice long weekend. I had to go back to work today, and it was
Yeah.
fucking snowing the whole time.
This is like the time of year when my seasonal depression kicks in and overlaps my regular depression.
Right. Then they both joined forces to destroy me.
Right. I have a nice schedule of like regular jive old plain depression.
Yeah, right.
And I have an agreement with that. And
Yeah.
then seasonal depression comes
Yeah,
through.
So regular depression is just like,
Yep.
it's just, you're going about your day and it's just a guy flicking you in the wiener
Yep.
all day long, right? And then he gets a friend that also slaps you in the face.
It's awful. Just like Nancy Reagan running over a crack house in a tank. It's
It's the strength and variety of my depression.
just boom. Say no. Just say no to happiness. Yeah, God, today's fucking miserable too, right? Just cold and like
Yeah, it was a really, so the thing
The
is,
roads suck.
we started getting snow, well, we got it really early, right? And then we kept getting it. At one point, I looked outside and I couldn't see across the street.
Yeah.
That was how much snow we were getting at that moment.
right.
Yeah, and it was coming and going kind of all day, too.
Yeah.
But when it was going, it was really going.
Yeah, I heard like emergency vehicles all day long.
well, yeah.
On fucking I-80, there was a pileup involving 50 cars.
Yeah, right. 50 is a 50.
50,
car.
yeah.
And then on the opposite side of I-80, there was a 12 car pileup involving like 5 semis.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm not, because I have the option, I'm not going into work ever again.
Yeah, right.
On a day like this. Because I had my accident
In the winter.
in the winter time, and I don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not you, it's the other people who forget how to fucking drive in the
Yeah.
winter.
Yeah.
They all like step on the gas and leave no room to stop.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to try to set everyone's computers at work up to work with remote desktop because
Right.
if I can just fix everyone's problems from home, that'd be great.
Yeah.
1,000 times easier.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just jump head first in here. Maybe that's why we're fucked, is because we've lived in Ohio presumably most of us all of our lives, and
Yeah.
nobody remembers how to drive
All
in the
my
snow
life.
when it happens.
I know how to drive in the snow.
Yeah. People are either like way too overcompensatory. Is that a word?
It is now, bud.
Sure is.
Overcompensatory? Sure.
Overcompensatory.
Sure.
People either overcompensate way too much and
Yeah.
like either go way too slow at a snail's pace so they get stuck on little tiny stupid shit that they shouldn't get stuck on, or they just drive like fucking
Yeah.
maniacs.
Just go the speed limit.
Yeah, right.
Brake like I don't know, maybe 33% more before
Yes.
you would normally do it.
The end.
Like-
Just described how to drive in the winter.
If you would normally come to a stop 30 yards from where you do, stop 40 yards from where you do instead.
Well, then the other thing too is that people jam on the brakes like
Yeah.
harder, and then they slide as a result.
Right, because people don't understand how
they're
physics
stupid.
works.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing is, in 95% of all of these instances, you could just go the speed limit in the winter and all of your problems would be solved.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to worry about like spinning out somewhere. You know, if you just
Yeah.
maintain the speed limit that's posted there,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, not when it's summertime. When it's summertime, you just drive as fucking fast as you want.
Right.
As fast as possible.
Right. You just keep
Because
going.
what do you want to be 5 minutes later than you could be?
You're right. No.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do that. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
No, you just fucking follow the speed limit sign.
Yeah, honestly.
And the thing,
Almost all the time you can get away with doing that.
like in reduced visibility, cut your speed like 5 miles an hour or maybe more.
Yeah, if you're like blind, I get that. Yeah, but like,
yeah, if you can't see anything, maybe, definitely.
also maybe just like stay home.
Oh.
Like if that's
Oh, how about the people who don't turn their fucking headlights on
right.
in low visibility? Those motherfuckers.
I'm seeing a lot of people lately doing that, like when it's like definitely after dusk and their lights are still not on. It's starting to drive me crazy.
Yeah.
Because I pulled out from this street down here onto the main road the other day and didn't notice until I was doing it that there was a guy coming at me. He was way closer than I thought he was because he didn't have his fucking lights on.
Well,
right.
you might not have been out of the house today either, but like
No, I wasn't.
The visibility today in places was terrible on my way in, on my way home, and there are people driving around who I can't see them until they're like 30 fucking yards from me.
That's so infuriating.
the law in Ohio is like any inclement weather.
Yeah.
Your headlights are supposed to be on.
I think even if it's just raining.
Just raining, just snowing, just fog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I'm
they're supposed to be on.
I'm gonna start flashing my brights at them because like they need to have that shit on. I don't want to be in an accident because of these dumb fucks.
Anytime I notice, I flash my lights at people when they don't have their lights on.
Right. Like, hey, can you like do that,
Yeah,
please?
Can you like make yourself visible on the road, please?
The thing is, if I get in a fucking accident because some dickwad.
That's how it's going to happen, though, if it happens.
Right, that's the thing. I'm going to go, I can't promise I'm not going to hurt somebody if that happens. It happened like last year when a couple years ago, actually, the first winter that I had the Fusion.
Yeah.
My tires, I needed to go get my tires replaced, and I was like a day away from going to get them changed. And I had somebody who was just crawling up a very long, steady incline on Tippecanoe Road, like up towards my apartment. And they were just crawling. And I'm like, I can't fucking do this in my car. Like, I'm going to slide backwards because you're afraid to drive up this hill.
Yep.
And of course they had like, they're in like a big tank SUV that obviously has 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Just fucking use it and don't go 5 miles an hour so I get stuck.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening is I was just maniacally behind them laying on the horn. It's like, and then like I have to try and like wiggle my car so I have traction all the way up there. I had to turn the traction control off so like I would be able to manually kind of zip it up there.
Yeah.
And I'm just doing this thing like back and forth, left and right on the wheel, and I'm going, fucking move it! Screaming, laying on the horn. And then I get to the top of the hill and they start to like edge off to the left, and I rolled my window down and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like losing my mind coming home from work one day. Like, I can't remember. I've never been in a scenario where I've like, where people say you just see red and you just black out. It happened. Yeah. And I knew what people were talking about. I was so fucking angry. I was like screaming at people who fucking like, people who can't hear what I'm saying because they have their windows up and they're
so
like,
funny.
why is he beeping the horn at us? Why is he mad? Why is he so mad? Because I'm gonna get fucking stuck because you're afraid to use your all-wheel drive on your Lincoln, Karen. Move your fucking ass.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is a reason I don't think I could actually. I mean, well, I could. I would not really want to live in Pittsburgh, even though I think it's such an awesome city.
Yeah.
Because the hill situation is just too much.
Yeah.
Driving in that city is awful.
It's bad enough in the summer.
It's the hills, it's the tunnels, it's the fucking the fact that they try to make a rectangular grid street system in a triangular shaped island.
Yeah.
And so you have streets that end after about 20 yards.
Yeah.
You have left turns that come out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, right.
It's a nightmare of a fucking city to drive in.
I don't know who planned that city, but it is not good. And then you go somewhere out west like Las Vegas, where at certain points there's 8 lanes of traffic and it's really fucking easy to get where you need to go.
Yeah.
Because they have it just designed.
What a dream.
We got a desert and goddammit, we're going to use it.
Right. You get over to the real tangly part that's like right in between the interchange of all the main cities in Nevada. They call it the Spaghetti Bowl. And it's like eight lanes of traffic because from over top it's just like winding roads. But you can always find where you're going there.
Yeah.
Because they had engineers who knew what they were doing.
Reno, Vegas, Carson City.
Yep.
That exhausts all of the major cities I know.
Exactly. Right.
in
I think you hit
Nevada.
them all. Yeah. But yeah, it's just it's fucking frustrating. I hate to be the guy who's like, people don't know how to drive, but people don't know how to drive.
Well, yeah, and especially like with the first, everyone always says it, but the first time it snows, nobody knows what to do with themselves. First time, like everyone, it's like a hard reset.
Yeah.
For some reason.
For most people, I've never had a problem driving in the snow. I used to drive the Honda in the snow.
Yeah.
That car's light as fuck.
Yeah.
Do you remember Louis C.K. saying that his theory is that white people aren't native to this planet because we're never adapted to our conditions ever?
Why are we not comfortable?
Right.
I found that to be a convincing argument.
Right.
I don't.
There's no
I don't
place
know
on
either.
this planet where white people are 100% comfortable and happy.
Wait, that's the truth.
That's funny.
Man, we're not allowed to laugh at him anymore, though.
Yeah,
Right.
I guess not. Yeah.
He kind of admitted to it, apologized, and then dropped off the face of the earth, which, I mean, people are still talking about Cosby and Spacey. Nobody's talking about Louis C.K. anymore. Nobody's talking about
No
this.
one is talking about. I was at a New York comedy club, and I saw Sticky Louis C.K.
And he cornered me and started fiddling with his diddler.
And I thought, this is not that bad, actually.
He had a pretty nice putts.
So here's the thing. Louis C.K. did come back. He did do some local shows in New York.
Yes, he's working at it.
And I think he is angling for like a comeback.
Yes,
Sure.
It's gonna happen.
It probably will.
It's gonna happen.
It'll happen. Like I said, he did the only. I said this at the time too. He did the only sensible thing you can really do in that situation, which is say, "Yeah, it's my fault. There's no way I can.
There's kind of nothing else you can
Yeah, right.
do. I mean, like what?
I have no excuse."
Like what are the things that a person can do? It's to apologize and attempt to right any wrongs,
And just-
if that's possible.
Right? Yeah.
I default to what my
just-
girlfriend's thoughts were. My girlfriend, my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
I defer to what my wife's thoughts were at the time, which was just like, eh. It's just like, eh.
I mean, yeah, that's a landmine.
Yeah,
but like,
right.
But yeah, it's like on some level,
There's a lot worse.
yeah,
Not that it's right, but there's a lot worse.
Right. Right.
yeah, it's kind of a mess. It's hard to talk.
He's
about
not
that.
he's not like putting drugs in people's drinks.
Yeah,
you know
right.
What I mean, what you gotta do?
not like the pills or the drinks.
You
put the pill in the pudding, you put the pudding in the pudding pop, and then give the pudding pop to the girl, and she passes out.
Rudy, I can't even buy the Quaaludes anymore.
Special barbecue sauce.
I have to.
His special barbecue.
yeah.
That's God. If you're listening to this and you haven't seen that, you really should look at a genuine clip from the Cosby Show in which he basically insinuates that he's got knockout barbecue sauce.
It's barbecue sauce that makes people want to fuck each other,
Nice.
so to speak.
I thought it like knocked people out. Does it make?
No. It was, because there was like some tension between two of the other characters, and they're like back being lovey-dovey, and always like, well, the secret's in the sauce,
It's
or
so
something
creepy.
like that. Obviously the connotation is not.
The secret is Ambien CR. You open up the couple of capsules of Ambien, you put it into the barbecue, a little bit of KC Masterpiece, and then you put it on the ribs. What are you talking about?
KC masterpiece. That is, he would pick KC
He
masterpiece.
would, yeah. Cosby's an off-brand sauce guy. Come on, he's picking like the most generic.
Yeah, if Texas Pete had a barbecue sauce.
KC Masterpiece.
Keep the sweater on when I make the lovin'.
I will tell you that I heard that when Louis C.K. did his first comeback show in the Cellar, the Comedy Cellar, he opened his set by asking a guy up front, "How was your year?"
Right. I listened to it. I listened to his set. It was actually pretty funny.
Oh my god!
But yeah, he did that. He's like, "So how was your year?" Mine was not great. he basically goes. He's like, "I lost a lot of money this year." Mm-hmm. He started talking about all the shit that he had to sell.
Oh, I'm sure.
All the all the stuff you buy when you have money. That he's like, "What the fuck am I doing now?" Yeah.
I mean, dude ruined himself, but yeah,
it
still sucks to imagine
kind of a
losing
given that you can't trap someone in a dressing room and jerk off in front of them.
Yeah.
That's kind of a thing that most people don't need to be told.
Yeah, right. That's the thing.
That's the thing.
It's a no-brainer to everybody.
To literally everyone.
The only redeeming thing there is that he asked first, but it's still like not cool.
I'm still not convinced that he always asked. I'm still not convinced
Nobody
that
ever said he didn't.
Yeah.
Nobody ever said he didn't. That's the thing.
The thing is, we also don't know how many other people
haven't come forward.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Right.
All right. Well, we know he came forward. All right.
And to the sides too. Everywhere.
Yep. All over the place. All over his stomach.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Woo. Anyway.
This is starting off real bad. Let's start off bad.
Dave, why is Ben fucked?
Yeah, Ben, why are you fucked?
Why am I fucked? I guess I'm not especially.
Dave, why are you fucked?
Well, so I will say this. I have been working my way through.
I've been working my way back
Nope.
to you, babe.
So I'm going through a bunch of games that I had played and not finished, which is why you guys, today I was playing The Witness, which is a lot of fun.
Can I get a witness? Sorry.
I finished South Park.
Witness dick in my. Oh no! Wait.
Wait, strike that.
Strike that. Reverse it.
Reverse it. So I finished the South Park, The Fractured But Whole.
The fractured butthole.
I was disappointed in the ending, but whatever. So I've just been doing a bunch of these things, and it's making me realize how much I have spent on stuff I'm not finished. I'm not using.
Yeah, big mood.
Same.
I mean, like you guys also probably have Steam libraries full of things that you haven't finished.
Or started.
Or started, right?
Yeah.
I was looking at the. I want to play Metro 2033. But
It's real good.
and it's in my library.
It's real good. Play it.
But like, I'll also. I mean, I played Octodad the other night. And
Oh, I love Octodad.
the deadliest catch.
The Dadly. Oh, this is the second one.
Yeah.
The Dadliest Catch.
I finished that in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Very short.
Yeah.
Game.
It's a fun game. It's an infuriating game at times, but it's really fun.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's never like I'm fucking over it. Like
Yeah.
it's always like, okay, well, I gotta finish. I gotta go get these bananas for the kids.
Yeah, right.
I just came back to Hitman 2.
Oh yeah.
I saw that.
I'm just about up to my full location mastery on the 3rd stage. There's
Okay.
about 14 stages, and I haven't touched anything past the 3rd one yet.
Gotcha.
I've done Paris, I've done Sapienza, Italy, I've done Marrakesh.
Yeah.
Nothing after that. It's a whole $120 worth of content across 2 games because if you have the first game, it gets imported into the second game, so
Right.
it's all one
upgraded
thing.
and yeah.
Right. And there's fucking 11 levels I haven't even touched. I wouldn't know I don't know who the targets are. And then meanwhile, there's the other, 600 some games I have in my Steam library.
But like, what always happens is the Steam sales come around, or something's good on Humble Bundle.
Yeah.
And I'm buying stuff. I have no business buying more games until I like actually finish some of these
but
games.
there's some good deals, dude.
Yeah, good deal.
New Call of Duty.
I mean, that's
Call of
why
Duty,
I bought my
yes.
friend Pedro and finished that game. I love that game.
Yes.
But it's another thing I didn't have to do because I have other shit to play.
One of my recommendations is a game I did just get on the Halloween Steam sale, and
Yeah.
I've been playing since I beat Sexy Brutale.
Oh, right. Sexy Brutal.
Sexy Brutale.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I guess that's why I'm feeling a little bit fucked is I'm looking through my library like I have probably years worth of entertainment in here.
Yeah, right.
I don't need anything else.
It was like my buddy Jake was trying to get me to buy NBA 2K20 because I
Yeah.
guess they play a lot at night.
Yeah.
And they need like they need somebody on their team to make a fifth for the player.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, I would love to do that, but like I have to play my 80th dynasty mode in NCAA 14 and, like, you know what I mean? Like I want to play it because those games are always really good, but
Yeah.
you know, I just can't justify 60 goddamn dollars for something that I might not play that much.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, that's really the problem. You might not play it that much. I still haven't finished Red Dead Redemption. I started to again. I'm getting somewhere.
You show about this, Dutch. Arthur, I need a man, Arthur.
I'm dumb and thick, and the clap of my ass cheeks keep scaring my horses.
I can't even mention this game without like
Arthur
triggering that whole cascade.
Arthur.
Just one more fist, Arthur. Arthur.
Anyway.
The thing is, nobody believed me. Every other line of dialogue in that is, "Are you sure about this?
How do you
sure about this?" That's so much.
He's always asking people that.
I started playing that game over again, and I'm like, I don't know, 1/8 of the way through it, and there's already like 8 occurrences of somebody asking, "Are you sure about this?" I started recording them.
Are you sure about that?
Dutch? Are you sure about this?
That's the thing is,
You sure about that?
I guess it is reinforcing a theme, which is that they are
not sure.
They are not sure about anything. They are constantly on the run, and Dutch is the only dude that like gives it a semblance of like a cohesive plan.
Yeah.
We need money, Arthur. We need money. Go out and sell yourself, Arthur. Show some skin. You sure about this, Dutch?
He's like all dressed up like a fancy lady going, "You sure about this, Dutch?"
You sure? We just need to get the mangoes, Arthur.
Like, I get his dress up as a train goes by.
You sure about this, Dutch? This seems kind of weird, Dutch.
Anyway, yeah, no, it's just I have so much shit to play. I'm gonna actually start doing it. I want to finish some of these games.
Yeah, I resolved to do that like a year and a half ago, and it's been paying off pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't spent that much on games.
It's been
Clear the game, uninstall the game, next game.
Yeah, right.
yeah. Ben, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say clear the game insofar as you want to. Like, there are some games that I love so much that I'll go out of my way to 100% them. There are some games where I don't care.
Here's a game I started playing that I don't want to play anymore. Super Meat Boy.
Oh, fuck Meat Boy. I fucking love Meat Boy.
Here's the thing. I hate it. I hate it.
It's one of those try hard games.
Yes, that's it. I hate the way it makes me feel. I'm at the end of like the first world right now, where you're running away from a dude with like a chainsaw.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot. I've done that. I've done it 100 times. I cannot get past it.
Almost 100% in it, but there's 110% in Meat Boy for the bonus challenges, and I don't have the skill to do that. The thing about that game that's so infuriating, and same with like Cuphead, is it's one of those games that's programmed really well, and it's telegraphed for you. So it's literally just get good.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing you can do except be good, and if you're not good, then
Right.
That's Dark Souls as well.
Yeah, right.
Everything's telegraphed.
Get good.
There's a pattern to everything.
I just can't. I can't.
It's not
do
like
this.
Call of Duty where you'll end up throwing your controller across the room because of some inevitable bullshit that will happen.
Right.
But like, you know, it's the jump arc in Meat Boy is maybe one of the finest programmed jump arcs ever.
Excellent jump mechanic.
Perfect.
Works exactly the way you want it to.
The controls for Meat Boy are so tight.
Yeah,
they're so good.
Because they have to be, because people would be like, "That's fucking bullshit." If they kept dying, they had to get it right, and they got it right. So there's no excuse. You're just not that good at it if you can't pass it.
In some
which
ways
is okay, because nobody's that good at it.
In some ways, it reminds me of Mario's move and jump mechanics, which are very similarly like down to like right when you release the button and everything it's very, very precise and careful stuff. And you get very used to it.
Didn't Meat Boy take a little inspiration from like Kaizo Mario and stuff like that?
Yep. Oh, Kaizo Mario. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
And now they have like thanks to online Mario Maker 2, they've got like co-op versions of Kaizo levels where like you have to like pass the shell back and forth between you as you like do all these crazy fucking moves. It's ridiculous. That's for a certain breed of gamer that I am not.
Right, yeah. I want to have fun.
Yeah,
I want
right.
to relax. The only
I want a good challenge, but I also want to, like, if I do a good enough job, like, let me move on. You know, if I want to do better, I'll come back and try to do better.
Yeah, right.
It was like I was playing God of War last year. I have to restart it and play it over again because I never finished. But
Yeah.
I get to this point where I was just getting so frustrated, and I'm like, dude, just fucking turn the difficulty down. I'm like, I just want to have fun and play the game.
Yeah.
I don't need to I want to be challenged.
Don't make me suffer.
But I don't want to suffer, right? Yeah. I had it on like the normal hard difficulty, and I'm like, which is usually what I put most stuff on. And I'm like,
yeah, right.
I'm like, this is fucking garbage. Like, what am I doing to myself here?
I had a similar experience with the Ruiner, although the thing is that game actually does it's an appropriate challenge. Yeah. Sometimes it's really very difficult, but it knows, I think, or I get the sense that it I don't know if it gets easier on multiple retries or whatever, but it strikes a balance with you.
I think, I mean, it might feel like that sometimes, but like the reason Dark Souls is kind of the exception for me is just like every new attempt brings some sort of new milestone, and when you get within striking distance of a victory on a boss, you're like, I know I can do this. If I do it like a few more times, I know I'll beat him, and that's an exciting feeling.
God, I hate that level of challenge, though. I really do.
Yeah. It takes some getting used to, but honestly, honestly, it's worth it.
The only games I was ever comfortable doing that on were like NCAA. Like the football games, right? Yeah. Which we might get back.
Yeah, we probably will now.
That's why we're not fucked. NCAA athletes can get paid now.
Yes. Yeah, right.
So that means sometime, hopefully in the near future, I'll get my beloved football game back because I'm still playing the last one that came out.
Right.
Which is still really good.
Yeah.
Like it was before they made everything predetermined by animations and like... Yeah. And the thing is, there was always a separate team that worked on the Madden games and the separate team that worked on the NCAA games. So they always ended up feeling like different games.
Yeah.
And I just want that back. Madden.
It'll probably come back now.
And they've never fixed Madden since like Madden 08. Yeah. It hasn't gotten better.
Everything I've seen about the latest Madden looks awful.
It's terrible.
It looks downright terrible. Especially this like storyline mode that they've got now. And you know,
what is it?
You're like an up and coming star, and like it's you have like dialogue choices and everything.
Yeah,
it's like
you start in college.
Well, this is Mass Effect, but for football.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so the thing is they've done that mode in MLB The Show.
Yeah.
To a lesser extent. There's no like crazy choices that you have to make in MLB The Show.
There's
just like
similar in the WWE game.
Yes, but that makes sense. It makes sense in the WWF games too.
Yeah.
To do that, where you get to like progress, because it's a story, you know what I mean? Right. Wrestling is stories, that's what they're doing. Yeah. And like even like NBA 2K, they've had the modes where you go from like playing on like local park courts to playing in, you know what I mean? Like that you build up.
Yeah, right.
But like the difference between that and the Madden story is that Spike Lee wrote that story. Some white guy behind his desk wrote the Madden story, and it's stupid, and who gives a shit? Like, I don't know. Dumb. It's fucking dumb. And
dumb.
I hate those fucking games because they predetermine everything. EA will not admit it, but every YouTuber ever who's ever bitched about those games has like basically pointed out and verified that there's predetermined gameplay options.
Okay.
So like
what exactly does that mean?
So like if you line up for a field goal, you can tell about 1 second before the ball is snapped if the field goal is going to get blocked or not.
Oh.
Like it just happens. Like you could tell because a player will shift and glitch and then an animation will start.
Oh.
Like if they randomly roll a number and it's like, rather than like the old football games where it was determined on challenge and blocking schemes and everything, it's just like, nope, we're going to fuck you over here. So
that's frustrating.
It's very frustrating. Interceptions are predetermined. You'll see like things like defensive backs like flying across the field at Mach speed to pick a ball off.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh, fuck that.
And they won't admit it. They won't admit it. They will not admit that they've like taken the element of skill out of a lot of this stuff, which is really frustrating.
Yeah, I don't want football via RNG.
Right.
I really don't. I mean, I guess on some level, I mean, there's a lot of randomness to everything when it comes to games. So I guess I kind of get it. I don't know.
I mean, like, okay, so take like, I'm sorry, we're getting off on a tangent.
We really are.
We'll talk off mic about this. Ben, why are you not fucked?
Yeah, I guess I'm just not fucked because I had a long weekend, and it was a really good long weekend.
So did I. But I brewed on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some stuff done. I played a bunch of different games.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time with Aubrey.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was just a good relaxing weekend, and I came back today pretty refreshed. Not ready for the snow, but
Yeah.
Otherwise pretty chill. Like I feel like I got a lot of good free time stuff out of the way. I hung out with you on
Yes.
Monday.
Yeah, we went out and got barbecue and lots of beer.
Oh, that sounds so good.
We
God.
we watched is junior college
Junior
football.
college, yeah, JUCO football. Division III, Mount Union was up 45-0 at the end of the first half.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Woo.
it was rough.
Yeah, not good. I think the stat that was the funniest to me was like they when they came back for the third quarter, Mount Union had 452 yards of total offense, and the other team had 30. Like, why are you even still playing?
Yeah, right.
Let's just call it,
Yeah.
please.
Let this bloodbath end.
Oh God,
That's so funny.
we good college football week actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Minnesota game.
Yeah, it was great.
That's fucking
That was
fantastic.
great. Oh, that reminds me, I have to check when we go on break. I have to check because the rankings will be out
Oh.
this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Took them an extra day. So
Yeah, and then who is Ohio State playing this Saturday?
not Penn State.
No, that's two.
That's 2 weeks from now. Nobody that matters.
Okay.
When is the game?
3 weeks from now,
Is it?
the weekend of Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We can watch us kick the ever-loving piss out of Michigan again.
Yeah, I think you were saying on Monday, yesterday, that if Michigan loses against Ohio State, that might be it for Jim Harbaugh.
Right. Well, the thing is, I don't even know that because I said that last year.
Yeah.
Because it was his last chance to beat Urban Meyer.
Well, but now the media's talking about it.
Right. Yeah, right. They're finally like the media who was constantly like, nah, well, you can't get rid of him. You can't get rid of him. They're now finally like, what the fuck are we doing with,
Yeah, every time Michigan's on, they're they have like these vignettes about the legacy of Jim Harbaugh, like he's this fucking amazing coach.
Yeah, right. No, now, okay. Don't tell any other Ohio State fans I said this.
All right.
But like, I'm so fucking tired of just like it's not even a rivalry anymore. We're just mowing them over every year.
That's part of why I'm so glad the Flyers have been coming back this season.
Yes.
Because I want that Pittsburgh-Philly
Yeah.
rivalry
Oh, that's
back.
like the hockey rivalry.
I'm sick to death of the fucking Capitals.
Right.
I don't want them to be all right. I want the Flyers back, man.
The Flyers and the Pens are like the hockey rivalry.
Yeah.
It's like Pens, Flyers, Bruins, Canadians.
It's like what the English and French think about each
Yeah,
other.
right.
I don't want to fight anyone else. I want to fight you.
Right, exactly. It's just one of the best rivalries. It's just so good in sports because it always turns into a fist fight.
Wonder if Claude Giroux has scored a fucking goal yet.
No.
Although honestly, he hadn't scored anything for a really long time.
I was looking at your stats.
Yeah. Oh, my stats.
I was looking at your stats.
I was looking at
because we all made fun of you for drafting Tom Wilson, and he's like 8th in fantasy rankings.
Yeah.
so.
No. He's the thing is he's kicking ass. He is delivering. Let's see. Claude Giroux has scored 4 goals this season.
This season.
Yeah.
How many assists has he gotten?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's not great.
That's not great. Really? How does he up so high?
Here's the thing. I drafted him last year, and he pissed all over me then. So I didn't take him this
He's
year.
usually better than 9 points by this point in the season.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what's up with that guy.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So should we
Yeah, we should.
yeah.
We'll take a break here. And then we'll come back. This is yours, right, Chris?
sure is,
This
Chris.
is your episode. All right. So we'll be back with whatever happens after this.
Sure.
We're gonna find out.
All right. Welcome to the Three Dude Podcast. Hey.
Woo!
Yeah.
You can find us at 3dudecast.com.
If you're wondering whether that's spelled with the numeral 3 or the word 3, the answer is yes.
We're so proud of ourselves.
We're so clever. We're such clever boys.
Wow. We've switched hosting to Podbean. You can still find us on iTunes and Google Play. So give us a like.
Yeah, give us a like, give us a listen, give us a review somewhere.
Give us a sandwich.
Give us a high five.
Give us sponsorships.
Please give us a hug.
Give us that money. Hey, we're back, everybody.
Yeah, we're back. I have to try and not obsessively refresh fucking fantasy hockey
that's what
all night.
we were out to lunch yesterday, and that's all I kept doing is just checking my fantasy
It's
score,
so awful.
trying to see who I can add and who I can drop.
Well, to be fair, I'm terrible at conversation sometimes.
Yeah, right. Same, dude, same. So, but like, I'm so much better at fantasy hockey than I am at fantasy football, which isn't saying much because I actually give a shit about the NHL. So
Yeah, right. Yeah.
it's like, I don't know. I feel like I obsess over it.
I do too.
Which is
Whenever my
okay when
games
you're
are
winning.
on.
When you're winning, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, good point. Yeah, when you're not having a good week, it's like it's
I am happy you're doing well this year because you were so unhappy last year.
I didn't win shit last year, and it did not. I did not like it.
Yeah, I haven't won shit so far this year.
Right.
Hopefully soon.
The only thing I can tell you is that I was second to last year, and I made it to the playoffs. With room to spare, I ended up in like 4th place last year. So.
Okay. Yeah, I got a feeling. I mean, I'm doing all right now. I got a feeling I'm not taking this the whole way.
I got a feeling.
You know.
A feeling deep inside. Hey, so we're gonna play that really stupid game that I do that nobody likes.
Everyone likes this game.
You're the person that doesn't like.
I hate it. I fucking hate it. No, you remember that game that I came up with that's vastly inferior to everybody else's game?
Yeah,
It's time to play that. Woo!
All right.
It's as bad as it gets time, everybody. And it's called as bad as it gets because it's as bad as this podcast gets
Oh my god.
when we play it.
This is a fucking hilarious game, you know.
It's a fun game.
So I'm
you
gonna
have to be mad.
I'm mixing it up a little bit this week. We're gonna do as bad as it gets, but I have a little bit more specific as bad as it gets this time.
Okay.
And at the end, we're gonna vote on which one we think is the worst. So imagine, gentlemen, this scenario.
Okay.
You are trapped in a bunker after a nuclear fallout, and you can't leave this bunker for 25 years.
Imagined. Done.
You're stuck in this bunker with every last thing that you could possibly need. You know, there's enough there, like water supply wise. There's enough non-perishables.
Was there entertainment stuff? Can I play Xbox?
We'll say the most basic of like entertainment stuff, like, you know.
There's a chessboard down there.
Well, like, so here's the thing. You have enough, let's say this, you have enough that you will be able to survive in this bunker. What I would like you gentlemen to do, and what I will do, is find a way to ruin this survival scenario. I want you to make this bunker as bad as it can get. Changing, and the rule is I'm going to hard limit you to 2 things that you're going to change.
Okay.
So you can only change 2 things about this situation. The rules are you can't change anything that will affect how long you live. If you add another person there, you cannot kill them, and you have to assume that they're going to be alive for the entire time.
Okay.
Gotcha.
You also have to assume if you add another human being there that you need them to be there for some reason.
Okay. So I can't just arbitrarily place Gilbert Gottfried in the bunker without giving a good reason as to why.
Correct.
Okay.
So like you need another person there to like open something or like make sure, you know what I mean? If you're going to do something, you have to do it deliberately, but you have to make your scenario as bad as possible. So I would like you to corrupt this bunker. You have a chance to survive, and you have a chance to survive after you can leave the bunker. But what will you do to make this bunker experience, this 25 years of your life, as bad as it gets?
Oh my god.
Can one of the conditions happen based on like minor damage to the bunker that isn't life threatening? Like,
Sure.
okay.
As long as it won't affect like any incoming radiation or anything like that.
Yeah.
No, quite the opposite. In fact,
As long as you're able to, live sustainably with whatever the damage is. Yeah, you basically have to be able to stay alive for those 25 years. And if you put another person in that room, you have to be able to not kill them.
Yeah.
Wow, this is tricky.
Yes. Okay. So I'm trying to make this game better than just like
No, that's it. You add
put a
some
fucking
rules.
cow pie on a sandwich and eat it, you fucking piece of shit. I want it to be. I want to make this a little bit more. I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you in a situation where you have to make it bad.
Yeah.
And then we're going to decide which one's the worst.
Well, I like that there's rules on it. Little restrictions make people have to be more creative, right? The fact that we can only do 2 things really does help.
I was only going to make it one thing, which would make it a little easier, and I kind of wanted to toughen it up for you guys.
Okay. Yeah, right. Make us think of 2 whole
You can do one if you want.
So I have the
If you think you can win with one bad thing.
I think I can. In the event of nuclear Armageddon, water treatment plants become inoperable. Even if your bunker has indoor plumbing, eventually the shit in your toilet is going to come right back. Assuming of course that you haven't cut it off, because of course that water is going to be irradiated as hell. Any water that returns to the tank from a public plumbing system is going to come back irradiated as hell. Possibly even anything that's stored in a tank external to your bunker.
Right.
You've got a finite supply of water before it starts going bad, either from your own shit, your own waste, or from outside radiation. I don't need to make it bad. Eventually, your toilet is not going to be serviceable anymore, one way or the other.
Poop's coming back.
You're going to have to shit in a corner somewhere. The other thing is, the only other thing I can think of is all of the books that you brought in. Maybe, I don't know, there's some kind of, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the worst possible thing that could happen to the books. Oh, you trip and your glasses fall off like in Twilight Zone.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. All right. So, all right, here's one. Is you have some movies to watch, but they're all copies of Ernest Scared Stupid. All of them.
Okay.
They're all, you open them up, they have different covers, but you, to your horror and surprise, every one you open has Ernest Scared Stupid inside of it.
Ernest scared shitless. Ernest nuts himself.
And then I think in the pantry, all you really have to eat is just Velveeta cheese.
Oh. Ooh, that's tough.
Just Velveeta cheese.
So just Velveeta and Ernest Scared Stupid.
Can you imagine sitting on the couch with a brick of Velveeta, watching Ernest Scared Stupid for the 40th time?
Oh, God. So I think what I'm going to do for mine is I'm going to add a human being to this scenario. And I'm going to make you stuck in this bunker for 25 years with Kathy Griffin.
That's rough. Okay,
Yeah.
now
But why is she there?
Why is she there?
Because you need another human being there to operate the water purification system.
Okay.
And your driver was killed on the way to the bunker. She just happened to be...
and Kathy Griffin was just like...
She just happened to be in the adjacent limo, and you just needed another body there to get this to work. So now you're stuck there with Kathy Griffin.
All right. That's pretty damn good.
Let's see. For my second one... Ooh, okay. How do I want to play this?
Another Kathy Griffin.
Roll with me.
Another one.
Another one.
Another one.
Okay. The only thing that you have to eat available to you is just old McDonald's McRibs, freeze-dried.
Just freeze-dried McRib.
Freeze-dried McRibs.
Wait a minute. This is a critical question. Is it just the McRib patties, or is it
Just
full
the
McRibs?
patties. Just freeze.
So it's just those little
Ladder-shaped fucking...
those hideous-looking...
Freeze-packed McRibs, and then we'll say you have like
No sauce.
like no sauce, but you have supplement tablets that will help vitamin. You know,
Yeah,
you
right.
have your vitamins there,
Yeah,
so
sure.
you can.
So you can
need
survive
to-
on McRibs for
Right.
25
But you're stuck there with Kathy Griffin, and let's just say for this, for the sake of argument, that Kathy Griffin starts going stir crazy insane. So she's just talking the whole time that you're there with her.
Yeah, right.
She draws a face on her hand and starts to hold conversations
right.
with it.
I don't know. I could just feel like it. Yeah.
No Kathy Griffin.
No, Kathy Griffin, please don't.
Please stop.
Yes.
Okay.
We have to repopulate the species better sooner than later.
Oh God.
She says to her hand.
Yeah. It's not to you.
Well, and to you. You have to watch.
Anyway.
So,
all right.
what do we think is the worst?
I know what I'm voting for. It's like it's a lock. Yeah, there's no way that anything is worse than being in a bunker for 25 years with crazy Kathy Griffin. There's no way anything's
I don't know.
worse.
I was thinking like having to smell your own excrement because at some point it's eventually just like the smell's gonna go away and then it's gonna dry up. But
Think about what 25 years worth of feces looks like.
a lot of dust in the corner. Yeah, like once it wears down.
What? Yeah. Wait. What?
Because eventually it's just gonna break down, right? And
I
like,
guess.
turn into like a wet, dusty, dirty pile of.
Well, this is assuming that all the okay. So here's the thing: the Chernobyl exclusion zone has all kinds of stuff that won't rot because the things that break things down all died.
Right.
So there's a chance that your poop doesn't even break down. It just sits there forever.
That's a lot of poop. So we're going to presume that this bunker is large enough to house all your poop.
Oh, well, it's
25 years of it.
Yeah.
25 years of it. But also, when did we presume that?
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's true.
So you're just stuck. I don't know, man.
The
That's
level
a tough one.
just continues rising around you.
Swimming.
How high is the feces, mama? 8 foot high and rising.
To make all this worse, by the time I get out of there, I'm like 57 or something.
Yeah, right.
Maybe, no, 58 maybe. Yeah, 58.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking about also Ernest Scared Stupid. I'd say, like, how many times would you watch Ernest Scared Stupid in a row before you just go crazy?
Well, you know, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of how many times you could watch that movie before you'd rather watch no movie at all.
Well, I'm thinking about like that scene in I Am Legend where they have Shrek on and Will Smith just recites word for word every part of Shrek because he's been alone for 6 years.
Yeah, right.
Like he's just got whatever movies he has in his house.
I totally forgot about that
Yeah.
part. Jesus Christ.
It's kind of what would happen. Isn't it?
Yeah, right. You just except it would be to Ernest Scared Stupid, which is arguably way worse.
Know what I mean, Vern?
Know what I mean, Vern? Yeah. I don't know.
I'm voting Kathy Griffin.
I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go shit tank.
Ah.
I think I'm gonna go shit tank.
I think, honestly, I'm going to go Kathy Griffin also.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll take it.
It's definitely the worst. A dry McRib every meal.
Yeah.
A dry McRib.
And then you take your vitamin supplements so you get everything else you need.
And
but
you wake up and insane Kathy Griffin is trying to dry hump you, talking and mumbling under her breath about propagating the species.
you just wake up like
there's a really good chance that she's going to die in there.
yeah.
I mean, how long do you think she's got?
Well, let's presume that she's going to live through the entire 25 years, and then she dies the day that you get out of the bunker. Like you guys emerge from the bunker, and a gazelle runs her over.
Like, yeah, the system. And the door goes.
Like a mutated gazelle with 8 antlers just fucking charges, spears her through the chest.
Like the antlers are all pointed at her
right.
like daggers,
And they have teeth somehow.
Yeah. Or even worse, she just drops dead coming up the stairs, and then you turn back to look at her, and as you turn back, you look and see, hey, we were waiting for you to come out. It's been fine for like 17 years now.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
We couldn't get in. We tried and tried.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I will take that victory.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know what's. I'm picturing like Kathy Griffin. Like you open your eyes in the morning, she's just right in your face, and she's like, "I used to be friends with Anderson Cooper." It's like, yes, Kathy.
That's nice, Kathy.
Yes, we know, Kathy. Do you want another McRib? I want another McRib.
A dry McRib.
Ugh.
Although I think I would take that honestly over the Velveeta cheese. I think the Velveeta.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Would you take a dry McRib over Kathy Griffin?
If you hold it next to your generator long enough, you can at least heat that McRib up.
That's true. Well, all right.
So I try to spice up the worst game on the show, trying to make it better.
Hey, adding some rules helps.
Yeah, I think we're gonna stay with that format from now on.
Adding some
Every scenario is gonna be you in a bunker with Griffin.
I can't wait to do this again in another few weeks.
Yeah. Okay, so it's time for my topic. I don't have one. No, I'm kidding. I teased this a couple weeks ago on the podcast. I think the topic that I want to talk about, since we're all in a lighthearted enough mood for this, and I want to stress, I want to try and make this as jovial and fun of a topic as possible, even though it's kind of a I don't know. I want to talk about crying. I would,
Crying.
Yeah. I want to do a topic where we admit that we're not half as manly as we think we are.
Oh, yeah.
And because I think I'm in a room full of people here who like
In a room full of pussies, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
This is a room full of dudes who definitely cry and are not afraid of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So I figured we're all in just good enough a mood to take this out with just like being completely fucking depressing and miserable.
Oh man,
I figured.
I'm trying to think of the funniest things to cry over though. That's my
Yeah.
Okay, so I will open with the nervous breakdown I had when I was like 17 years old.
That's a lighthearted story. for
Yeah,
sure.
it's a really lighthearted story. But I like it. Okay, so the important thing to remember about this story is that it culminated with me. I ended up crying in my room and having like a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
I was playing. This is your favorite Chris Brady story.
Is this the one?
Yeah, I was playing NCAA 07.
I love this story so much.
On the Xbox 360 on Xbox Live against another person. And it's also important to note that at the time I was playing this, I was ranked. I was top 100 in the world in NCAA.
It's pretty impressive.
I had like at the time like 100 something wins and like 7 losses. Which is
shit.
like really good. Yeah, I used to be really good at the game.
I didn't realize.
I'm still really good at the game. I'm like fucking. I'm just gonna brag about it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at those games.
Yeah.
So I was playing a game that I was winning and did win like generously. I was winning like I think it was 70-0. And on the very last play of the game, it was like garbage time, and I was being a dick, and I just threw a pass, and it got intercepted. And this guy who I was playing against, to his credit, he didn't leave. He played the whole game out.
Yeah.
Like he didn't quit and then give me the auto win, which is something that would happen. Like they would quit, and you could choose to either play it out versus the AI or
just take the win.
Just take the win. Which
Yeah.
if you're trying to beat top 100 in the country, you take the win.
Yeah, right. Don't leave it to chance.
So this dude, to his credit, stayed there for the whole game and took his ass whooping like a man. And on the very last play of the game, I threw an interception to him and he ran it back and scored a touchdown on me. And I fucking went ape shit. Like I lost my mind.
Never mind the fact that it's now 70 to
7. Yeah, right, to 6. 70-6, right.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing. I had to watch him kick the extra point because they didn't have the thing where like you could skip the extra point at the end. So he got to kick the extra point to make it 7-70. And I just it was a time in my life where I didn't have a job yet. So I was just at home in my underwear in the summer, smoking pot and just the angstiest time of your life when you're just sad and angry about everything.
Don't know where the hell your life's going.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And it was culminated by the fact that I was stoned and also disappointing and and I destroyed my controller. I threw it across the hall or down the hallway, shattered it, and then I punched a bunch of shit in my room. I broke a drawer off my dresser, and I was just flipping stuff off I was so angry.
Yeah.
And I kicked my dresser, and I remember it ended with me going, "Why?" I dropped to my knees and I went screamed at the heavens,
literally crying
like a
out
crazy
to God.
person. Yeah, why over this little tiny thing? And then I apparently I needed to get it out because that was the last time I had a huge freak out breakdown.
Yeah.
I just curled up in the fetal position and cried like an idiot because I threw an interception in a video game.
And now I broke my controller too.
No, my controller's break. Yeah. So yeah, that was and I cried for 15 minutes, the ugly cry, and then and it was I'm trying to get myself settled again because my mom was coming home soon. So I'm
Oh gosh.
I'm okay. Yeah,
Trying to
I'm
like
fine."
get it back
Yeah,
together.
right. I don't know what that was about. It was just something that clearly needed to come out of my body.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm
If
saying.
you know what I'm talking about. It needed to come out for some reason. So I just ended up like having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of like don't need a reason when those things.
No, it just happens.
Yeah.
I think like I think emotional outbursts like that just sometimes just need to happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is happening right now and you got to get it out. So.
It's also like sometimes things aren't about what they seem to be about. Mm-hmm. You know,
Right. Yeah. There was a lot. I was very depressed and like very angry when I was that age. So there was a lot going on there.
Yeah.
For various reasons.
Yeah.
Which fortunately now I'm just depressed. So
Fortunately,
I got one of those out. But yeah, that was,
I love that story.
that was my best ugly cry story. The last nervous breakdown I had.
Yeah. I had a sort of a nervous breakdown type thing once. Well, what it was my grandma died, and I took it way harder than I thought I would.
Way better of a reason to have a nervous breakdown incidentally. Way better.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's like one where everyone kind of gives you a pass.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, but like, I don't know. It was just I took it a lot harder than I thought it was going to. And it like culminated in me sitting out on my back porch like real late. I was living at my mom's.
I remember that porch.
Yeah, and I was sitting out there real late with just like a bottle of brandy,
Yeah.
and like
That's the way to have a breakdown.
and then it was like a real bright moon that night, and I'm sitting there and I'm crying, and then I start cackling. This does not happen to me all the time, but sometimes like if I'm sad enough, I'll go from like crying to laughing like a maniac.
Like manic. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like howling laughing at like 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning. I'm outside drinking and losing my mind. I don't think I've ever had I've never had quite that experience.
That's
again.
a very visceral
yeah.
kind of reaction. I think that what that is your brain just like you're so overloaded on whatever chemical
Yeah.
releases from, grief and crying.
Yeah.
That your wires get crossed and something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the thing is, to me, it seemed like it was like absurd.
Yeah,
That's what I was laughing.
Yeah.
I was laughing at the absurdity of how awful it was.
Well, that's why humans laugh is when something is incongruous.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the leading theory is that it evolved as a group defense mechanism. Where if it was kind of like an all clear almost like where what you thought was a threat was actually something innocuous.
Right.
The response is like a laughing sort of sound.
Yeah.
For like early humans, that's what I think it is. It's like a response to incongruity.
It kind of does make sense. That would certainly account for most of the things that we find funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Including like the really
Awful stuff.
messed up
Yeah,
ones.
right.
Yeah. The like why are we laughing at this thing?
Like Bill Cosby putting Ambien in his Jello pudding.
Jesus Christ.
We can laugh because he's locked away in prison
Right.
now.
Yeah. Right.
To never to do that to anyone else ever again.
And he's blind, which is like a fuck you from God. Fuck you. Not only are you in jail, but you're blind now.
yeah.
Oh no, wait, that's Yosemite Sam.
Oh, I hates that woman.
Oh. Only eyeballs ain't working no more. I'm still kind of going back into Yosemite Sam.
What internation?
Ooh, I hates that women's rights.
Oh, I hates them allegations.
I'm gonna root and tootin'. No, never mind. No, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Never mind. No, we're not gonna go there. Not gonna go there. I realize we're getting recorded. Not gonna go there.
So I don't know if this happens to you guys too, but like, Morty, you know how you'll act differently depending on what you've been drinking. Right? Like,
Yeah, different. I think different booze. do
Liquor
different-
drunk is a different thing than beer drunk.
Absolutely.
People say that. I'm not really sure that's
Oh,
the
really?
case for me.
See,
I 100% feel that.
See, whenever I drink wine, I get real weepy.
yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, and so like if I and I haven't been like like really, really wine drunk in a while.
Yeah.
But when I used to, like now it just kind of relaxes me. But if there were nights where I'd go through like 2 bottles of Merlot or something, and I'd watch. I'd look up all the saddest scenes from movies that I could.
Yeah. Oh God, I do that a lot.
And I can't remember the last movie I actually cried at, but like my go-tos are definitely Blade Runner, Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Things that are like, and Schindler's List was a little cheap because like it's a Holocaust movie. Of course, it's sad.
Of course,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
But
And you would think it was bullshit if it wasn't done so well.
Right.
Let's be real. Like it would be like if it wasn't done so on the nose, and so perfectly, you'd be like, oh, this is just a cheap Oscar ploy.
well, and what's interesting about it too is towards the end you cry for the person that you don't think you're going to be crying for the whole movie, which is Oscar Schindler himself.
Yeah. Oh, what a great scene that is. Too.
Yeah. The I could have done more.
I could have done more. Oh God, it's so good.
It's tough.
Very
it's a tough
very
one.
Spielbergian, but very very good.
I can't remember. There's a lot of, obviously when I was a kid I cried at a lot more movies. I cried at Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 3, the ending of Toy Story 3.
I haven't seen any past 2.
Oh man, Toy Story 3 is really good.
Did you boys see Homeward Bound?
Oh yeah.
I've repressed that memory, but I know I've seen it.
That's the first movie that I saw it in the theater, and I remember they had to leave the one behind because he was stuck at the bottom. I think his name was Shadow, right?
Yeah.
The black dog, and they have to leave him because he's like stuck at the bottom of the pit, and then he finds his way at the end. And everyone, don't do that to me.
This is another thing. Is this going to be an episode where one of us is going to cry by the end of it?
Someone that I know from college was telling. I'm not gonna name names or where I know him from, but someone that I know from college. He was a kid when Wrath of Khan came out, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen Wrath of Khan, which if you haven't, why the fuck not?
Oh my god!
But he had to be carried out of the theater by his brother during the scene when Spock dies.
Yeah. Oh my god!
And,
that scene is so good.
had to be carried out of the theater.
Yeah, like during the funeral scene when like Kirk is delivering his eulogy, he was crying so hard his brother had to carry him out of the theater.
Oh my god! It's so good. It's so good.
Like he was a little kid at the time.
Yeah.
Like, real little.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, the scene where Spock dies, like nobody saw that coming when that was of all the souls I've ever met in my travels, his was the most human.
Yeah, but
So good.
Bader.
Yeah, that's a big one for sure. I'm trying to remember. The ending of Saving Private Ryan made me cry the first time I saw it.
Yeah, you know what it is for me that
Which is another cheap one. Like,
sure, it's
tugs on
very Spielbergian,
patriotic
right,
heartstrings.
It's the Abraham Lincoln quote because it's the general writing the letter to Mrs. Ryan that your son's coming home, and he does that Abraham Lincoln quote about laying so costly a sacrifice on the altar of freedom. It's like, gets you right in the patriotism.
Well, that and the twist at the end too.
Yeah.
Wait, what movie?
Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
You remember the twist?
No, I don't.
I mean, okay, it came out in like what 2004.
Yeah,
I can spoil
I
it.
think we can spoil movies.
Sooner than 2004.
2001, I think. Actually.
Yeah. It's the old man you've been watching. You assume he's Tom Hanks because it cuts from the old man to Tom Hanks in the very first scene at D-Day.
Right.
But it's actually Matt Damon's. It's actually Private Ryan. The whole time.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
All right.
That one's good.
Yeah.
So I don't want to ruin the ending of Toy Story 3. So instead, I'll talk about a movie that I can't get through any part of at all, or really even think of.
A Serbian film. No.
Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. No, it's Up.
The tragedy of our time. Oh God, Up.
Up is like if you took the first 10 minutes of Up as a standalone short film, it would still hold up.
Yeah, it does.
That's what Pixar does best, man. Those
my
short films.
God, it's so. Tommy and I rented that movie thinking like, seriously. So I was like, when that movie came out, I was like, 08. So it was like we were. in my bedroom, sitting on my bed, eating hot wings. We got hot wings and pizza.
All excited.
So we're like, oh, let's go. We rented a movie. We're like, oh, it's day off in the summer. Let's go. Let's watch a Disney movie. That sounds awesome.
It's got a grumpy old man in it. It looks like it's going to be a rollicking good time.
I just remember,
most of the movie is a rollicking good time.
Really,
it's funny as fuck.
There's so many touching parts of that movie. And for people who haven't seen Up, the beginning of Up is him meeting, like, as a little kid, the old man meeting this little girl in his neighborhood and making a friend with her. And then it just, they
dream about going on adventures together.
Right, yeah.
And reality sets in and then become adults.
Right, yeah. It goes in montage format where it shows them
follow their lives together
to the point where they can't have kids, but they decide they're going to still go on adventures and it's not a setback, and they just grow old together, and then she dies.
Yeah.
And it sets up the whole story because this guy is just alone now.
Yeah.
And he's grumpy and he's sad, like anybody would be if you spent your whole life with somebody and they're not there now. I'm sorry. But it's the way they present the story is so moving. I just remember, like, Tommy sitting on my bed.
You're doing it.
Tommy's sitting on my bed eating chicken wings going, is she gonna fucking die? And we're just like trying not to wipe our tears away, like eating chicken. I think the scene in that movie that gets me the most is when he, spoiler if you haven't seen the movie Up, which don't watch it. It's just like,
Don't watch it.
Just don't.
It'll just turn you into a puddle.
Like the whole, right. Yeah. You're just going to cry the whole time. There's a scene later in that movie where he gets in an argument with the kid that he's been with this whole time. Yeah. And he sits down on his chair and he starts flipping through the photo album that they didn't get to complete.
Yeah.
And he realizes that she completed the photo album from like the time where they got married onward, and it's them and their whole life.
Yeah.
And at the end it says something like, go out and have your own adventure now.
Yeah. No, it's this time.
That's the part that just fucking KOs me completely. It's just too much.
Yeah. It is too much.
And I promised myself after the first time I watched it, I would never watch it again. And then Trisha had never seen it.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, we should watch it. And then I started watching it again. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I said I was never going to do this to myself again. So yeah, now I'm not going to watch it ever again.
No.
It's just don't do it. It's horrible.
Too sad.
It's too sad.
On the other end of it, I can remember, maybe not the most recent time, but definitely the most memorable time I ever cried laughing at a movie. Which was when I went to see Borat with my dad.
Right.
And it's the scene where he's chasing his manager naked through the hotel.
Yeah, Borat and Azamat naked.
I had tears streaming down my face the whole time. Me and my dad are just out of breath laughing.
I think my favorite part,
one of the funniest and most unexpected scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh, so
I think my favorite part of that is that they chase each other into an elevator at one point, and then they just kind of stand there, right? Until the elevator opens again. And they just kind of politely but naked stand there with the other people in the elevator.
And then into a full-ass conference room.
Yeah, right. Like a giant...
a banquet hall.
Yeah. Just packed with people. I think they get up on stage. I think they're actually... Yeah. At one point, he's grabbed by the neck by security.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know a lot of that stuff, like...
Really happened. Yeah,
really
right.
happened.
Yeah.
He got in serious shit for that movie, yeah.
Singing the made-up Kazakhstan national anthem to the tune of the Star Spangled Banner at a rodeo.
Yeah, oh my God.
Was it in the movie or on the TV show where he sings Throw the Jew Down the Well?
TV show. That's the TV show.
Okay. Yeah. So my people can be free.
The Ollie G show, yeah. No, I remember we went to go see that in the theater. And it was like, it was one of those movies where you knew the kind of movie it was going to be in the first 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
When like a bunch of people in the theater walked out. And then it was just the people who like had a good sense of humor. And like
the people who are like in on this. Yeah.
It was, seeing that movie in the theater for the first time, it was the funniest movie I've ever seen.
It's still funny.
The first experience of seeing that was so fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, we were in tears the whole time. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Like it just never stopped being hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my God. I really, so the thing is, I've watched all of This Is America, or Who is America?
Who is America?
Who is America?
Who is America?
Don't catch you tripping up.
I just can't wait for the next thing he does at all times. He's just such an interesting dude.
really funny.
When have you guys cried laughing? or even just cried happy?
Often.
Yeah, quite a bit on this podcast several times,
right.
actually.
Yeah, some of the biggest laughs for me of like the last 3 years have been doing this podcast.
Doing this show, yeah. Christy Davenport talking about her Polish uncle. Or her Polish,
Your grandpa.
My grandpa.
Who's dangerously Polish.
My father's Polish. My grandfather is very Polish.
Very Polish.
Or like
Unrepentantly Polish.
in the first season, you were talking about this lady who came into the library who was a real non-traditional student.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, she was a clown on stilts.
She was several pigeons in a trench coat.
Yeah, right. You guys just kept going with it. It was just so funny to me. I was like,
My favorite part of that was Ben going, I'm
What?
sorry, what?
yeah, you stopped in the middle and you looked at me and you went, what? I was just crying. You and Christy just kept going and kept going and kept
That was
going.
so funny. Yeah. A lot of
Very
the time,
non-traditional, just made entirely of styrofoam.
just unlike other students.
Whereas most people aren't clowns on stilts. This woman was. Right.
That's right.
I just remember sitting at the bar pounding it because it was so
Yeah.
funny to me.
Oh my God, yeah. That was so
Yeah,
funny.
I think a lot of the times I've like cried laughing have been recently have just been here or like on Sunday nights.
Yeah. Well, like, okay, so the thing is, we sit around and play Jackbox games roughly once a week.
Yeah, right.
Give or take.
And they're always hilarious.
I'm continually impressed by how funny my friends are.
Yeah, all of our friends are really funny.
Yeah.
So
most people are not funny.
yeah, right,
Except
exactly.
in this group,
Everybody's funny.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's
yeah.
really a very lucky thing to have.
Yeah.
In a world full of just fucking boring people.
Right.
Boring comedy and more importantly, cheap tragedy.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no easier source of cheap tragedy than modern country music.
Yeah.
as well. like
Sure.
There have been one or two songs, maybe in my entire life, that have made me cry. Neither of them have been country.
Yeah.
Those fucking things, because they always go for like the worst case scenario, you know, like my wife miscarried, my dog ran away, my truck broke down.
Right.
It's just
But
throwing
at least I still have my beer.
Yeah. There's
throwing everything at the wall. Just
Yeah.
like
what's that
all of it.
stupid country? Johnny's daddy was taking him fishing.
Oh, don't
when
take the
he
girl.
was 8 years old. Yeah.
What's that one about?
It's three tragedies in succession, which all involve like
Don't take my sister fishing with me. Don't take my wife is giving birth and she's dying. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't take the girl. That's the chorus.
yeah. Don't take the girl. Yeah, it's
Take
tragedy
the
after
very
tragedy.
breath that you gave me.
Yeah.
Take the heart from my chest.
Yeah, no, it's cheap.
It's
Jesus Take the Wheel too.
Jesus Take the
is
Wheel.
real cheap tragedy.
Yeah.
Or it would be if the singer like actually died in the car crash and didn't like recover.
Yeah.
Because of course Jesus wouldn't let anyone die.
No.
That wouldn't make any sense.
Unless you're black.
What?
And then fuck you, right, country singers? No, of course not.
I'm very interested in this
any
whole
country song about 9/11.
Yeah, right.
this whole business of Old Town Road topping the country charts or whatever.
Yeah.
And that being a whole thing that like pissed a bunch of people off.
Yeah, I don't know why that pissed anybody off.
I don't know.
Your music already sounds like like pop country sounds like rap music now.
Yeah.
They use the same like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kick the
little
dust
snappy.
up.
yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's like what we would consider like traditional country western music is basically
Yes.
dying.
Oh,
Nobody knows what that
nobody knows
is.
what that is. That's a deep cut. Oh man, that is only something that us and maybe one person listening
maybe.
to this know what this is.
Anyone who's bothered to try that game.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Digital homicide.
Yeah, I know. I feel like all the times that I've cried laughing have been a direct result of like the people in this room and then the people in this room associate with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there's nothing worse than not funny people who think they're funny, and all of us are funny.
The thing is,
We are funny.
I've known a great number of people who like are very impressed with themselves and are very unfunny.
Ooh, I gotta show you a video I found not too long ago of a comedian bombing hard.
Oh, good.
yeah.
I
and
always love that.
Amateur comedian. There's like maybe 7 people in the room. He's very visibly drunk and he bombs hard. I gotta show you that when we're done here.
Yeah, you do. I have like that's the thing is I have this thing where like that cringe thing I have to watch it.
Oh yeah, it's in my playlist. It's labeled cringe. Oh, do you guys? Here's the thing. I never cry at funerals. I always cry sometime after.
Yeah.
It's usually sometime when it'll be the most random time, but I'll never cry at the funeral itself. This happened with my granddad.
Mm-hmm.
This happened with my stepdad's father. This happened with my stepdad's mother.
Mm-hmm.
This happened with my stepdad's sister and brother-in-law.
I tend not to either. I mean, there are exceptions, but for the most part,
Yeah, not at the thing itself, but it usually comes later. It could be like the next day, or it could be like a week later.
Yeah.
But it's never at the thing itself, you know?
See, I'm the opposite. I'm good up until it happens, because I'm one of those people who like respects and understands death. Like when my grandmother died,
Yeah.
I was the only one in the room who I think was like happy that she was dead, because she told me years ago
yeah,
that she was ready to die.
yeah,
And like she basically told me like the only reason that I'm even she had a heart attack at that time. She's like, the only reason that I'm even fighting and doing this is for your mom and your aunt, because she's like, I know you'd be okay if something happened, but she's like, I'm ready to go, you know. And I took that, like, I heard that 8 years before she actually died, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, she was ready. She didn't want to keep fighting
Right.
anymore. She was ready to go.
Yeah.
So like, did everything she needed to do. She was done with living.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I was fine right up until like when we had to walk her casket down. You know what I mean, at the church.
Yep.
And then that was it. And then it was out of my system, and it was like, okay, we're good. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get your grief out, and then.
I don't know. Those moments always feel too, like, they feel very systematic. They feel very ritualistic.
Yeah.
And that almost is comforting, even though I'm not religious. Mm-hmm. But then it's, you know, like I said, it's usually later. And I also notice it's usually when I'm drunk, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll usually drink sometime after the fact, and then that's when it'll come out.
Right.
Loosens up.
Yeah.
There's in 6 Feet Under, which I've recommended on the show before. Like in the first episode, when Nate Jr. comes home, he's talking about his time backpacking through Europe, and they're at, you know, the family owns a funeral home, so he's talking about how fucking sterile funerals are in America, and how, you know, people like do this big ritual bullshit, and we have to show out for this, and
Yeah.
oh, at least they didn't suffer, and like, you know, all this thing. He's
Yeah.
talking about a time when he was in Italy backpacking, and there was a funeral happening, and they boated a casket up onto the beach, and then as soon as the casket hits the beach, the whole family's like banging on the casket.
Yeah,
crying.
yeah.
He's like, we don't do that here. We just sterilize everything.
Oh yeah.
And make it so like, and he's right, you know. And
Yeah.
for some people, that's a huge comfort, and then like, I don't know, that kind of makes me feel icky sometimes, you know.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
it definitely varies from culture to culture. Japan does that a lot too. There's a lot of taboos about death in East Asian types of cultures, to the point where Japanese hospitals won't include a 4th floor in the way that we don't include 13th floors in our skyscrapers.
Yeah.
Because the traditional word for 4 in Japanese is shi, which also means death. So a lot of times if you're counting up, you go ich, ni, san, yon. Yon is the substitute word for 4, because people don't want to say shi.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, dead. 5, 6. I mean, imagine how weird that is.
Yeah, right.
Well, then also the traditional word for 7 is shichi. People replace that with nana
Wow.
in Japan. To go so far as to, you know, again, like I said, to not include a 4th floor in hospitals or in most buildings.
That's odd, isn't it?
It's
It makes sense though. Like, you wouldn't, you know.
But I mean, it is strange how like a lot of cultures, you know, ourselves and East Asian cultures included, you're right. You kind of sterilize the whole process and kind of shield people from it.
Well, it strikes me that like that time when like when my grandma had died and I was just losing my shit out at the moon, I got a lot of shit out of my system.
You get it out. Yeah, you have to.
Crying's good. Crying is necessary.
Yeah, it was a very crazy way to react, but it worked. Like it felt,
You feel better,
felt
right.
good afterwards.
There's no right or wrong way to do it as well.
Yeah, like
Right.
grief takes a lot of forms.
Yeah.
It's very different for different people.
I feel like sometime in the last, maybe really since I've been dating my wife,
My wife.
I spent a very long stretch of my life from like teenage years to well into adulthood just not being able to cry. Does that make sense? Like I just didn't really, I fought it back a lot.
The thing is, I kind of feel like I'm going backwards.
Like going into just crying all the time.
No, like I used to be more emotional.
Oh, okay.
And now it's like once in a while I'll break and like sob like a baby.
Yeah.
But most of the time I don't have healthy.
You opened it by way of humor, but you touched on a very important point, which is that in our culture in particular, crying is not seen as a masculine thing to do. It's not expected that men should cry in public or cry about, maybe even just the same things that women cry about. Aubrey introduced me to a Pixar short, which is adorable and has a happy ending, I should clarify.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to talk about.
But it's about a stray cat that befriends a pit bull that is used for dog fighting.
Wow.
It doesn't explicitly show the dog fights, but like at one point it comes out of the house and it has like cuts all over it, and it's like you can tell what's happening. And it's
power of suggestion.
Yeah,
the power of suggestion. Yeah.
Way more important than actually seeing it.
Clearly made with viewers of all ages in mind. Mm-hmm. And she showed it to me because it had made her cry, and it got me pretty close. But there are times too where I wonder, like, would it be better if I cried at this thing, if I just like kind of let it out? But again, our culture is one that dictates that men don't cry, big boys don't cry.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's people, especially neckbeards, raise such a stink about anytime the discussion of toxic masculinity comes up. Well, that's one of the things. Anything that discourages men from displaying emotion is toxic masculinity.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a thing that, that holds us back.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and it was like one of those things where when I was younger, I told you I was really fucking angry kid, like just angry at everything, like a lot of kids, and like in particular, a lot of guys are. And my parents, we were all children of divorce, and like just being frustrated with my situation, and like
you develop a real resentment of the world, don't you?
And like the people that I focused that on were like my direct family.
Yep.
Mad at them because they were the closest targets. You know what I mean?
This is a great lighthearted topic, by the way.
Yeah, right. I know. I'm trying. That's what I said. I'm trying to make it, but one of the things that this is so strange to think now compared to the person that I am now.
Yeah.
One of the things I detested more than anything was like weakness. I don't know why. Like I just hated the thought of like being weak. And to me, like crying and like letting your emotions out was just weak to me.
Yeah.
Showing vulnerability of any kind.
Which, as a result, I think what it manifested as was just anger and rage a lot of the time, which is like
same with me.
Yeah, I mean, way less healthy.
We're both on the spectrum.
Exactly.
They're more manageable
and
feelings on some level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're like feelings where like not manageable, but they're you can experience a lot of that emotional release through some form of anger too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, through some form of beating the piss out of the kid who's making fun of you.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Right.
Or like putting several holes in your wall, and what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, those kinds of things go hand in hand, and giving into that, of course, when everyone around you is telling you like, you got to rein it in.
Sure.
Kind of translates to do that. But then, as you grow up, you realize kind of, anger sometimes serves a purpose.
Absolutely. There's nothing, but it's not all the time.
Right.
You don't need to be pissed off at everything.
Yeah.
And then something changed in me years ago where I just I found myself starting to cry a lot more. Seriously, and it's just
I don't know why that made me laugh.
pussy.
Seriously,
Yeah, you
it's
fucking-
I just found myself crying a lot more.
You fucking queer. You suck.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Wow, great pussy. Anyway, someone
Right.
else. Maybe.
Anyway, so I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I've ever cried when I've been chopping onions. Has that ever happened to you guys?
All the time.
I don't know what I don't cry when I chop onions.
Okay.
I've done it quite a bit. It's
So
just,
this is a thing.
it gets up in my nose a bit, but it doesn't make me tear up.
So Christy and I both have a reaction to onions, right?
Yeah.
Like chopping them definitely hurts our eyes. The difference is she gets a headache when she does it.
Oh yeah, me too.
So she'll anytime she cooks, she'll say, "Dave, can you chop this onion for me?" And I go, this also hurts me too. But
Bring me over. I'll chop your onions.
But it hurts her way worse, I guess.
You know what I'm saying?
I get headaches too. I have to get a paper towel and put it to my eyes and then walk away because I get it tension headache right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it goes right up your nostrils. But for me, it stops right about here, and it's just it's like. It makes me feel almost like I have to sneeze, but I know it's not going to come.
Yeah.
But I don't really tear up when I'm cutting onions.
Yeah.
No, definitely gets me. Which is a shame because I put onions in almost everything.
Yeah.
Well, see that's the other thing. I rarely cut onions.
You don't like a lot of onions.
I don't like onions, so I rarely cut them. But when I do, I don't really get that.
Hey, do you guys cry when you look at your fat, useless body in the mirror?
No, I just drink that away.
Hell no! I just suck it in and I go like this.
Yeah, right. I drank that away a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Me either.
Because when I look in the mirror, my attention's not on my gut. It's on my massive fucking dick.
That's right. Goddamn right.
Yeah. I don't cry about that either. It's
No.
we're all the same.
No, I don't. I'm disappointed at myself for a lot of the time, but I don't. I'm not that.
When I had to fix the toilet a couple of weeks ago, I found myself crying in the bathroom
Yeah.
because every single step
Was just more.
I was just finding out. Okay, well, this isn't on here, so I got to take this apart, and then underneath this is rotten. And
Now,
then
see, that would be where I would be furious.
I got to a point where I'm on my knees, chiseling at the ground or at the tile on the floor, and I find the rotten wood underneath, and I'm just sobbing. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I can't. I won't. I don't. I can't.
That's way healthier than what I would do, which would be to punch that rotten wood until the toilet fell through the floor, and I felt better watching it crash on the ground
Yeah.
below.
Problem solved.
Problem solved.
more toilet.
Fixed it.
Let me tell you the silliest thing I ever cried about when I was a kid.
All right.
Was when I had to throw out my favorite toothbrush.
Oh, no.
Because it was all frayed. The bristles were all everywhere. It was fucking useless. It wasn't doing a good enough job of cleaning my teeth. But in my mind, it was an animated object. It had feelings. It would be hurt if I abandoned it.
I did that a lot as a kid. Did you feel that way about a lot of inanimate objects? It would just
Not a lot. For some reason, it was just this particular toothbrush. I didn't really do that for a lot of objects. It was just, for some reason, this fucking toothbrush. And I don't know why.
That's actually really silly.
But I really resisted throwing it away.
How old were you?
God, I don't even remember. I must have been something like 4 or 5.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say because if you're 14 and you're like, I don't wanna.
No. It was definitely at the age you would expect, but I remember it caused me a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pain involved in getting rid of that fucking toothbrush. I even remember what color it was now.
I remember getting a bad feeling if I didn't play with all my toys equally.
Oh.
That must have been definitely weird resentment about having a little brother or something.
Yeah, right.
Or having to share my parents with someone else. That must have been something like that.
Yeah.
But I remember if I didn't play with all the toys evenly, if I left one of them out, then I would feel bad about it. Not all of them, just if it occurred to me that this one had been left out, I would feel bad.
Yeah. I remember one time I I got really like crying angry at a kid half my age. I was probably I don't know, I was probably 10 or 11 at the time, and because what this kid had done, we were up at the park. This kid lived on the opposite end of the park from me. We were up at the park, and he was like trying to knock down a nest of sparrow eggs, and I'm like,
Oh, what a dick.
I'm like,
Yeah,
dude,
right.
dude, stop
would you
that.
do that?
Like, you know, obviously, you know, he's too young to get it, but he's chucking rocks at, and eventually one hits, and the fucking yolks and everything are all scattered over the ground. And I'm like, it took like everything in my power to not level this kid.
Right.
Yeah.
I just started crying and shouted at him, and I went home. Like that was
traumatic.
That sucked.
Yeah.
That's traumatic.
That sucked to see.
Yeah, I would fucking deck him.
Yeah,
fucking
right. Piece of shit.
fucking worthless kid.
Especially if I was an adult.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, like
that was a family.
So much stronger than him.
Right. Like I said, he was half my age, so I think the only thing preventing me from doing it was the knowledge that I would absolutely get in trouble.
Oh yeah, you just fucking crumple him on the ground. He's just like full-grown adult. I was like 26 at the time and was walking through the park with a bottle of bourbon. There's a fucking family, you piece of shit. You just punch him once and he just
Yeah, just one is enough.
crumples down to the
punch,
ground.
he's out.
I'm picturing like fucking Trevor from Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, right.
Cunt! I'm sorry. It was a family. I lost my temper. Are you okay?
Right.
Hello?
You all
Hello?
right? Yeah, right. All right.
He's fine.
Just leave, crack a bottle over his head. You little shit.
I know that there's things that like always make me cry, but I can't think of what they are. It's really kind of bugging me.
See, it's like I'll look at dumb, like YouTube videos or like
Yeah.
scenes from movies that I know are going to get a reaction. Okay, so I got one for you.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, famous ESPN commentator and analyst Stuart Scott died. He had cancer.
Oh,
he was like
okay.
40-something years old. Stuart Scott is famous for like doing the cool side of the pillow thing.
What?
You never heard that before?
Nah.
Flip your pillow over to the cool side.
What?
Really?
No.
Oh my God.
What about it?
No, that was his thing. He's the one who came up with that.
What does that mean?
Dude? I forgot you're like not a sports guy.
I'm not, dude. I didn't watch any sports until
Yeah.
like we all started being friends and hanging out.
So the thing, Stuart Scott was this like he was a young black ESPN analyst at the time when like young black people didn't work at ESPN.
Okay.
Does that make sense? It was like a bunch of like old crusty white guys talking about sports.
Yeah.
So Stuart Scott was like hip and cool and young and
it sounds like funny.
and really funny, and like he used to be on with Rich Eisen, who you'd recognize Rich Eisen if I showed you a picture of him. They used to like co-host their show together, and they got to be like super tight. And Stuart Scott won all sorts of like journalism awards for reporting on sports, and like was just generally well loved and well respected by his colleagues. A lot of like dumb, I'm guessing old white people didn't like him that much because he was cool and hip and young when he came out.
Oh, he spelled the end of
Right.
spelled the end
of like boring ESPN.
yeah,
Right.
just good old white ESPN.
Right. ESPN, we're the whitest. the worldwide leader in white people not knowing what the fuck they're talking about.
Oh, that can't be ESPN. Someone else has to have that market cornered even
Fox
better.
News.
Yeah, Fox News.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but when Stuart Scott died, Stuart Scott had cancer, and they did like a huge piece on him for ESPN talking about him because he was such a staple at on the network.
Yeah.
And then when it got particularly bad, he had to come off of TV, and like he got the Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Smits.
The Jimmy, the award that they give every year was named after a famous basketball coach who also died of cancer. It was like it's an inspiration award basically, and they gave Stuart Scott the award.
Obviously
Wow.
not
The year
that
before it-
inspirational. I can't remember his fucking name.
Right, I'll have to look it up. But they gave it to Stuart Scott, who gave like basically his eulogy on TV, like talking about how proud he was to work with who he worked with and loved his family, and like basically saying like I'm ready to die.
Wow.
So one of the things that always gets me is at the end of an episode of Sports Center, they have Rich Eisen on with Boomer and the rest of the guys,
Yeah.
and like he spent the most on-air time with Stuart Scott. throughout his whole career. And they found out halfway through the broadcast that Stuart Scott died. So Rich Eisen delivers the news at the end of the broadcast.
Oh,
just off the cuff. And it's just really, really heartbreaking because the guy was like one of his best friends.
Yeah.
And you could tell he does a really excellent job at like professionally getting his way through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like he just barely.
Yeah,
Like,
you can tell
he just barely makes it through. And it's just always really sad because, we've lost friends. Everybody at this table has lost at least one friend that we all knew together.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I've lost a couple friends that I knew from high school that are dead now. And it's just like it's not fun. It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And so it's something that I really like identify with, and that always gets me every time I watch it. And sometimes I'll put that on just when I feel like I need to get something out.
Yeah, a little bit of like an emotional catharsis.
Yeah, that's one of those things that just I sometimes I'm like, I know this will work, so let's do this.
Yeah. You know what I know works every time is the episode of Sesame Street they did after the actor who played Mr. Hooper passed away.
Oh yeah.
And
man.
What they took a pretty revolutionary approach and decided not to shy away from it. They not replace him, not make up an excuse. They decided to do an episode for kids, for the Sesame Street audience, about where Mr. Hooper was and why he can't come back.
Yeah, right. Big Bird doesn't know why he's gone, right?
Right. Big Bird drew his picture, and they said, well, "Don't you remember Mr. Hooper died?"
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And yeah,
right. It's really well done.
That always.
Oh yeah.
Is good for a cry.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I also have maybe I'll read this during the break because it's a bit long, but it's a green one of my favorite green text stories. It makes me cry every time from
really?
4chan.
Like if you cry every time.
Yeah.
I really like that, like divorced from like any just like if you cry every time.
Every time.
Not every time something. Just
like if you cry
time.
every time.
Like if you are always crying.
Every time.
Like if you have a physical disorder that causes you to always cry. Let's have a big round of applause for our latest comedian.
There's one. Another good one is. Were you gonna? Do you have the? Never mind.
I was gonna read it off the air in case if you guys haven't heard it, and because I don't know, it's a bit lengthy.
Okay.
Not super lengthy, but
Yeah, we'll do it off
air. But
there's one I'm thinking of that's Mr. Rogers accepting an award. It was like the lifetime. There's like a lifetime achievement award, and he like gets up to accept it. And
it was a lifetime achievement award.
Yeah, and he's older at this point. Like he is older, and he's not long for the world. I think at that point.
Here's a bunch of Hollywood celebs too.
Yeah,
the spray tans, the makeup, just.
This is one of those things where they
sex.
realize we might lose Fred Rogers. It's about time to give him this award.
Well, but it's what he does.
Yeah, he stands up in front of all these people, and it's worth noting that he gets a very big ovation, as somebody like Fred Rogers should whenever he goes anywhere.
A lot of those people grew up with him in their living rooms.
Right. But he does this thing where he basically he talks about how there's people that have existed in your life that helped shape you to the person that you are, and helped made you the person that you've become over all these years. And he says something like, I'd like for us all to take 10 seconds to stop and think about them. And he's like, I'll watch the time. And he looks at his watch, and then it's just the whole crowd, everybody all at once closes their eyes.
There's a couple giggles out there, but then they all just immediately.
It's this pregnant pause in the room.
Wow.
And then he goes back to the microphone and he says, think about how proud they must be of you all. And it's just it's so good. Because you can't help but think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody watching that, you can't help but stop and think about it.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. Mr. Rogers is always good for a cry anywhere because he was just
Yeah.
there's no dirt on that guy.
This movie's coming out soon.
I can't wait.
Oh, it's gonna be so good. Aubrey showed me a picture, I think yesterday, of it was it goes other people. Avengers was the most ambitious crossover of all time, and it says me, and it's just Fred Rogers answering the door, and it's Bill Nye.
Fred, Bill,
Fred, Bill,
right?
That's amazing. Wait, so was Bill Nye on Mr. Rogers?
Yes, he was.
I didn't know that.
he was. He showed up for an episode. They were both on the same network.
Yep.
Wow.
Fred, Bill.
The HBO documentary about Fred Rogers was very good.
Yes.
So it's another one that'll make you cry.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Yeah.
Right?
Won't you be my neighbor?
Yeah. We saw that in the theater actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They did a limited release in the theater. Trish and I went to go see it in the theater.
How about the footage of him testifying before Congress?
Yeah.
For additional PBS
And
funding.
winning.
And winning.
Yeah, right.
By reciting a poem that one of his kids, his viewers, sent in.
Yeah. Whoa.
I think you just won the $50 million.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Something like
it's
that.
this dickhead Republican senator that he's testifying, and the
I
guy's
think
like,
it's great.
This is back.
I
when
think it's just great.
This is back when shit like that could happen.
Yeah,
where
right.
someone could be moved,
Right.
and people weren't absolute rotten cord pieces of shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Like
Yeah,
you could
the,
move someone in Congress.
Yeah, the
back
poem was
then.
called "What Do You Do with the Mad That You Feel?"
Yeah.
Yeah, with the mad that you feel. Just the voice of Fred Rogers.
So good. I've loved Mr. Rogers.
So anyway,
everybody.
what are we like on time?
Oh shit.
We're about an hour and a half.
Oh, are we?
Hour 40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're on track.
Which, yeah, I guess would make it about time to stop and
Yeah, I think it's
take
good.
a break.
You guys have fun at least with this
Yeah,
utterly sad
I think
topic?
so. Yeah.
I
We talked about crying, laughing.
Yeah,
we
right.
talked about onions.
yeah.
I wanted to wait for like a night where we weren't all like sleepy or bummed out,
Right.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
you might not know it, but sometimes we do this show and we're like,
Yeah.
it's like whatever,
Yeah.
fuck it.
Tuesday's a rough day of the week.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes, even for us, when we always have something to look forward to on Tuesdays.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, just can't always be there. So, but yeah, I wanted to wait until I had an opportunity to do this topic where we weren't all going to be fucking miserable through the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's you picked a day that yeah, exactly. I wasn't ready to fall apart over it. So
Yeah,
thank
right,
you.
right. No problem. What I'm here for. So we'll be back in just a little bit with smoking and drinking
Yeah, of course. Smoking and drinking and crying.
and crying. Sweet.
And crying.
Our new feature, Tears in My Beer.
Yeah, here's why I'm weeping.
Have a beer,
here's
jack
while I'm
off,
drinking.
cry, and go to bed.
Oof. The new Three Dudes promise.
Have a beer,
Cry.
check off, cry, and go to bed.
I figure it's worse if you do it after you jack
Yeah,
I think
right.
so too. I think it's, yeah. Wow, that's really sad.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be right back.
Some people, when they go for breakfast, choose the classic 2, 2, and 2 combo.
Me, I choose Dewars.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Dewar's White Label, ladies and gentlemen. Dewar's. Do you,
don't
want to
care.
Dewar's.
Dewar's, you don't care.
It's all right.
Do you want to get drunk? Dewar's, don't you want to get drunk?
Dewars for the drunk on a budget.
You know what? I would buy this again. It's not awful.
It's
and
not
I
bad.
fucking hate blended scotch.
It's not
Yeah.
the worst scotch I've ever had.
It's just not
But
scotch
it's
because
close.
it's blended scotch. It has grain. It has American grain whiskey in it.
Yeah, you know what? Educate the people, because I'm smart and I already know. But
No,
what's a
sure.
blended scotch?
So a blended scotch. Okay, so a traditional single malt scotch implies that it's made from one batch, one malt.
Yeah.
So this scotch is made from this set of ingredients, and it's made with a single malt. Double malt scotch implies that there's two different malt whiskeys, or more than two different malt whiskeys mixed together.
Okay.
So that's made with two different recipes of malt, and then you throw the whiskey in a big bottle together and mix them
Okay.
together. So, but they're still at their pure form made from malt, which is what Scotch is. It's malt whiskey.
Right.
All right.
Blended Scotch is malt whiskey mixed with grain whiskey.
Oh.
So you're getting grain whiskey is like grain alcohol is like American, bourbon, Jack Daniels, things like that. So, but it's just like simple grain alcohol mixed with real malt whiskey.
Okay.
So it's real scotch mixed with something that's not scotch.
So in other words, it's taking away from the scotch character.
Correct. When they're saying blended whiskey, they're basically saying, here's some watered down scotch for you.
Now here's what I wonder. Why would you do that?
Taking fresh squeezed orange juice and mixing it with Sunny D.
Yes, exactly. Right.
Why would you do that? What's the reason?
Well, number one, it makes a little bit cheaper
It's very
whiskey.
cheap.
I'm assuming that the stuff they're mixing with is not great.
Sure.
And the original malt is not great.
Even then, like when you take something like Johnny Walker Blue, that's a recipe blended scotch.
Yeah.
They mix half malt and then half grain alcohol. That's a $200 bottle of scotch. I would never fucking pay $200 a bottle for something that's blended.
Yeah.
But, whatever you're into. But if you're a Scotch purist, which I would consider myself, the entire point is to get the different rich flavors and rich tasting notes that you get from malt.
Yeah.
Right.
Like malted barley or malted hop. You know what I mean? Like you want malt.
Okay.
Right? You want the caramely, you want the warmth, because there's so many different things that you can get out of that. Grain alcohol.
Fruit notes.
Right. Fruit notes, like peat, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different things that you get out of malt, and grain whiskey is pretty limited in what you get.
Kind of straightforward.
It's kind of straightforward. Think about the way we make bourbon. It's just grain whiskey with some sugar, and then they blacken the barrel.
Yeah.
The end. Like there's no grain whiskey is made with grain, and you can't really make grain taste much different than grain.
Okay.
There's different flavors, there's different richnesses of malt that you can make, and it's just a little bit more exciting of a taste.
Okay.
I don't know. It's the same. Would you rather have? Okay, so I have that Macallan Lagavulin. I have the Lagavulin 16 year that you guys got me for my bachelor party.
Yeah.
Would you rather have that, or would you rather have Jack Daniel's Devil's Cut or Jim Beam's Devil's Cut Premier?
I don't even know what the Devil's Cut Premier is.
It's
I would rather have the former.
Right. It's Jim Beam's high end bourbon, which costs $10 more than the regular Jim Beam bourbon.
Oh, okay.
So, not that matters, but
Yeah.
Would you rather have jive old bourbon, or would you rather have something that's been aged and done from an old recipe with care for 16 years?
Yeah, God,
Right.
That is something to really think about.
I don't know.
All that
something
time.
about it. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm just not.
I think it makes sense.
I think it cheapens the flavor of good scotch.
Yeah, I can see it.
So I get the malt out of this.
Yeah.
But it's just lesser.
Yeah,
You know
sure.
what I mean? You
Yeah.
can taste it, but there's just something not right. I don't know.
Yeah, well, because it's literally being cut with something else.
Right. And the fact that
Yeah.
you shuddered after we just drank some of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, compare that to okay, so when Aubrey and I were in Chicago, we had that big fancy dinner the night after I proposed to her. I had at that dinner a glass of Macallan 15,
Yes.
which is $25 a glass.
Uh-huh.
The most expensive thing they have was the Macallan 25, which is $200 a glass. But the Macallan 15 was maybe the best liquor I've ever tasted in my
Delicious,
life.
right? It's great.
It was incredible.
You can always tell the difference between a well-aged scotch and something that you just buy, out of the well.
Yeah. And that was just the 15.
Right.
Like the Macallan 12 you can get at Barry Dingle's, and that's like $8 a glass or something.
Right.
And that the difference between the 12 and the 15 was like night and day.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Scotch in itself is just such a joy. And and blended scotch, you're right, is like something you drink
cheapening
when you want to get drunk.
Right.
That label says that is made with up to 40 different Scottish grain whiskeys and malt whiskeys. Up to 40.
So you're just throwing basically what they're saying is we took a bunch of shit and threw it in
I
here.
think it's all the shit that didn't work out.
This is a liquor casserole,
Right.
essentially.
I mean, that's what you get in there is like what you get with hot dogs.
Sure. Again, it's not awful. Right. Yeah, it's not awful. It's just
No,
it's
I
not.
love a hot dog, but it's not as good as the things that
there's not a character to it.
The thing is, like, even if you follow the same recipe, like a bottle of 10-year-old Lafroig is going to taste different.
The frog
today than it did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it's made with it's the characteristics of the malt at the time that you make the recipe.
Sure.
If you're throwing grain in there, grain is grain. There's not really, like, from an alcohol standpoint, there's not a whole lot you can do to change the flavor of it.
So
that's why Fireball exists.
Right.
So if I understand correctly, malting is something you would do with what? Barley, right?
Yeah.
You malt barley, and you it begins to essentially germinate.
Right, and the process of how you do that changes the flavor drastically.
Right.
The
where you age it,
what kind of soil that the barley's growing in. You know what I mean?
This is familiar to me because of brewing,
right?
Because there's all different kinds of malts that you use in brewing.
Sure.
So I have like a roasted malt, like a roasted barley that's like chocolatey and it's like been scorched. I have black malt that's like almost ash.
Yeah, right.
And then you have like caramel malt, which is like roasted enough to bring out some sweet tones. So I do understand that. That makes sense to me.
Grain just doesn't have the same kind of properties to it. You can't really, as I understand it, you can't really do that much to make grain taste different than grain. The reason that bourbons end up tasting different is because they use different sugar contents for them.
Okay.
And they use different wood barrels, and they use different levels of blackening on the inside of the wood barrels.
And that is why bourbon is awesome.
Yeah. Right. But the thing, like, you have to add to that. They have to put some kind of additives into it to make it, you know what I mean?
To achieve a distinct characteristic.
Correct. Traditional scotch is really just, malted barley.
Yeah.
They'll usually the reason I like Lafroig is I like campfire scotch. I like a really spicy, heavy, strong scotch to pair with my nice mild cigar.
Really good.
It is really good. So one of the things that's, I'm sorry, I'm going to get off on a scotch tangent here.
It's so funny. I just realized we have just been talking about scotch
for like 15 minutes.
So like
straight.
There's
smoking and drinking.
Depending on who you ask, there's 5 main segments of Scotland and different levels of
regions, right?
Right, 5, 6.
The kilt lifting part, the
Right.
sheep fucking part, the fist fighting part, the rock throwing part, and the bagpipe playing part.
Exactly. That's, it's so Speyside, Highland, Ely. Oh God, I'm not.
South Central, Compton,
Watts. So Speyside, Ely, Highland. I know I'm forgetting certain ones, but that's okay. So Ely Scotch is where Lafroig is from, and one of the big characteristics of Ely blended Scotch is they malt their barley and boil it over peat moss. Mm-hmm. So they burn the peat moss to help boil, and that
really peaty Scotch is an Ely Scotch more than not, right?
Correct. Yeah. So you get that really strong peat smoke flavor in most Ely Scotches. It's very intense. It's very rich, and then it tends to mellow. Especially on the older Scotches, you'll get that really intense burst of smoke, and then it mellows out on your older Elays. Highland Scotch, which is what that is.
Oban?
That Oban 14 year.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more fruity, orange rind, you know what I mean? Much sweeter, much more citrusy, flowery kind of, notes.
Those are some of the best Scotch we've ever had.
I can't remember if I've ever actually tasted Oban.
You have.
You have, because we had it here on the show.
We had it here on the show, and then also my stepdad brought some back from him and my mom's trip to the
remember
UK.
You had the little bottle of it.
Yeah, you definitely had it then.
Huh.
You definitely had some of that bottle.
I'm going to buy more
can't
of
recall
that.
what it tasted
The thing is, I'm pointing at this empty bottle of 14-year-old Oban Scotch. Nobody has. I bought that the only bottle that was at the liquor store, and they haven't gotten it back. So
the flavor is really intense, but it goes down really
very smooth, very light, very drinkable.
Yeah.
Sorry if we're boring everybody here talking about whiskey, but yeah, that's a. I would buy that again. It's like it was $120 bottle of Scotch.
I've still never drank Maker's Mark in my life. It's my dad's favorite whiskey.
Oh,
next
really?
To Buffalo
Oh,
Trace.
There is some upstairs, I think.
That's a great go-to.
Do you mind if I have a shot?
Yeah.
I've never had it in my life. I keep remarking on it every time I see that bottle. I've never had
I think
Maker's
there's
Mark.
just a splish upstairs in the
good for
liquor
you.
cabinet.
Anyway, guys.
Anyway,
it's time to actually get away from the shit that you guys don't care about and go to recommendations.
which you also don't care about.
You just knocked it.
No, hopefully you care about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, would you like to start for recommendations?
No.
Ben, would you like to open us up for recommendations?
No. Why would I do that?
Okay, so I have a recommendation this week. It's an album. Let me make sure. I think it's Leaving Home. Let me get the name of this album right.
By whomst?
The album's called Leave Home by Brooklyn area post-punk noise rock band The Men.
The Men. Leaving Home.
Leave Home. It's actually called Leave Home.
Going their own way.
You can go your own way.
Then
Go your own way.
That's a term I didn't know until very recently.
So the band is called The Men.
Men getting triggered over women.
Leave Home is the name of the album. I'm going to precurse this by saying that this record is not for everybody. In fact, this record is mostly for me. The music that especially rock music, the rock music I think that I find the most interesting to listen to is often the stuff that is the most challenging for other people to listen to. Okay. And the best way that I can describe this album is that it's equal parts the Melvins, and like David Yao's Jesus Lizard.
Okay.
The fuck?
Yeah, right. So it's like equal parts Melvins, Jesus Lizard, with a little bit of sprinkling of just a dash of Sonic Youth and a dash of White Stripes. Does that make sense?
Nope.
No, it doesn't. It's really weird. When I say that out loud, it's hard to explain. It's very noisy. It's very fuzzy. It sounds very post-punky. Really fuzzy, reverby kind of guitars. Very loud, very noisy.
Okay.
Lyrically, it's kind of like Scratch Acid or Jesus Lizard, like how David Yao would sing his songs.
I don't know what the fuck any of that is.
I know, right? This is what I'm talking about, right?
Would I be remiss in describing this as a less adept Joy Division meets the Smiths?
That's so. If you sped this music up and took the fuzz out of it, then you'd be correct.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
If you took the fuzz out of it.
If you took the fuzz out of it.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is a very noisy record. It's hard to explain.
If you take the fuzz out of it, you get Joy Division.
Yeah.
Meets the Smiths.
Right.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know. There's so many.
I feel like I'm getting. I feel like I am narrowing in on this like pre-emo, post-punk kind of era that you're
correct
talking
so
about.
It's like it's
I know the sound that you
at certain parts. I'm going to say a bunch of bands that I realize that nobody else knows in this room except me. So it sounds very Rites of Springy. Which is like
sounds very Mouse Rat.
Which is Rites of Spring is like
boat,
pre-emo. It's hard to explain. It's a noise rock album in the same vein as early Butthole Surfers. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So like avant-garde, very noisy, very loud, but still very melodic in a lot of places.
Sure.
And it's very interesting to me to listen to this record. I've listened to 3 of their albums today.
The Men.
And I've listened to them this was the first one. This is actually their second record. This is the first one I listened to today.
Leaving Home.
And then I listened to a record they did in 2016. And then I'm actually finishing up an album that they just did this past year.
Okay.
That's
so they've been active a long time.
They have been active a long time. That record's called Drift. Okay. And it is amazing to me to listen to this band and see how much the music has changed up to the last record. The last record is something that Drift is something that I think you both would like. Actually, it's very accessible. It's something that I think you both would like because it sounds very different than the first 2 albums that I listened to.
Accessible is what I'm after.
Still maintaining a level of that like kind of avant-garde stuff. But it's very listenable. It's much less fuzzy. It's much less noise oriented, which is the stuff that I like. I like the really heavy, challenging kind of stuff. Yeah. So I'm going to recommend to you tentatively that you listen to Leave Home. And if it's too tough for you to get through and it's too much,
then fuck you.
Then I would say, then go fuck yourself. No, then I would say go jump to their latest album, which is called Drift. But try, if you can, to start with Leave Home. What I suspect is that I'm going to shout out Dan here, who's probably listening to this podcast. You guys would like Drift a little bit better. Dan would be with me, and I think he would like Leave Home a little bit better.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's like a double recommendation because I listened to a bunch of these guys' music today, and it's really good. I like it a lot.
Nice.
Dan is way more out there with his musical taste than I am, which is not a drag. That's definitely, he's more adventurous.
His taste and my taste are a little closer in a lot of the post-rocky stuff that we listen to. So but try Leave Home first. If it's too much for you, try Drift.
Here I am still thinking that knowing that Keep On Loving You is the best song I've ever heard in my life.
Keep on loving you, 'cause it's the only thing I wanna do now. I don't wanna sleep, I just wanna keep on loving you. Hey, I'm gonna keep on loving you. Anyway, Dave, what's your recommendation?
I don't have anything very good. I will say this.
Ben, what's your recommendation?
I will say this. I watched a documentary recently that I'm not sure if it's new. I think it's older, but it's featured right now on HBO, and I thought it was good. It's called "They Shall Not Grow Old." Do you know? Have you ever heard of this?
That sounds very familiar.
No,
So Peter Jackson of Lord of the Rings fame.
I was gonna say I know that name.
Did a documentary about the soldiers of World War I.
Oh yeah,
And they took a lot of historical footage and they colorized it. So it's one of those ones where you're looking at, battlefield footage of British World War I soldiers in color.
Oh.
And they even, they added some voice actors, and so where they could kind of lip read what a guy is saying, they'd have someone say it, so they add sound to things that didn't previously have
Oh my
sound.
God.
And it's very, very interesting. One of the things I didn't realize, I just didn't realize how poopy World War I was.
There's a lot of shit. There's an awful lot of literal shit.
Yeah, poop everywhere.
Well, I mean, they were stuck in actual holes in the ground for weeks on end.
It's a thing I didn't appreciate until there's a scene they show where there's just 4 guys sitting on a wooden beam over a hole, and that's the communal toilet they're all on.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Apparently, one guy's story was that everyone heard a crack at one point, and the beam split, and the 4 dudes fell into the fucking poop.
Oh no!
And had to be pulled out of there. But the way they told it, it sounded like everyone was laughing, including the guys that fell in the poop.
Well, I mean, what else are you gonna? I mean, these guys went through.
Yeah, that's the thing is it's like
maybe worse than any other war in that century. Those guys went through some serious hell.
Like at least in World War II, once you take a town, you scavenge some fucking wine or something to get drunk after.
Yeah, these dudes were just in literal holes in the field.
World War I, you're stuck in trenches for fucking weeks,
and you can't go anywhere.
There's video of what trench foot looks like.
It's not pretty.
It's really gross.
I remember my 9th grade government teacher. It was the first time that we ever learned about World War I in a history class.
Yeah,
and he was a Marine drill sergeant, retired Marine drill sergeant.
Okay,
and had actual pictures of document photos of what trench foot looked like, and it is not fun. Not pretty.
It's gangrene. Right? It's and I guess it happens because I don't remember exactly why.
Your fucking flesh starts rotting because it's ankle deep in bacteria, for weeks on end.
Right.
It's insane.
It's an interesting documentary. I would recommend watching it. It's very strange, and there's also I didn't realize that. I mean, to hear these guys say it, even though they fought the Germans. Like, they admired the Germans. They respected the Germans.
That was the last vestige of classical warfare that really happened. You may have heard of, or I may have even talked about it on the show, this event, the Christmas Truce, which was immortalized in the film Joyeux Noël, in which Allied forces and German forces basically called a truce on Christmas, met up in no man's land, played soccer, had dinner, sang songs.
Yeah, right. And then it's like right back to it.
And then just right at it was a very different era of warfare. It was this uniquely chivalrous European kind of warfare where you were kind of obligated to show respect and admiration towards your enemy.
Right.
Even while you were trying to blow his fucking brains out.
I guess actually yesterday would have been the anniversary of the ceasefire.
Armistice Day.
Yeah, which was 11 o'clock on the 11th of November.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently they literally got this message and like looked at the timepieces and go, oh, I guess the war's over now or whatever.
Yeah. That was, that was back when, and this is a big point that people made when we first started taking the offensive against Al Qaeda is that, wars used to be fought with flags.
Yeah.
And it's not like that anymore.
No,
yeah, right.
You can't, that type of warfare doesn't really exist anymore. And really, it's kind of incredible that it did in the first place.
Yeah,
right.
it is. That war had rules.
You make
to the extent that it did.
such a civilized effort out of something as grisly and brutal as warfare.
Right.
I think World War II definitely changed all that.
Yeah, I think so too.
For the worse.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe just for, the more natural. Like
More natural, I think, is maybe more accurate because it's just how we are.
It's odd to carry out the business of murdering another country.
Yeah.
So
And
sort of like cordially.
Right. That's a uniquely white people thing, I think. That's a European thing.
Maybe I don't know.
Making warfare so formal and
Gentlemen.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's strange.
Yeah.
It was a strange 500-year period or so.
Anyway, watch that. It's good. It's on HBO. I think it's really cool.
HBO doesn't really fuck up, so
They really don't. They really don't.
yeah.
HBO is kind of all you need.
All you need is HBO.
I'm paying for fucking 2 streaming services right now. I don't know if I need HBO.
Tell me about it.
I'm not getting Disney Plus. I refuse to do it.
Oh, really?
Chrissy might do
Too
it.
late. That's one of the 2 we have.
Oh yeah.
The other being Netflix, obviously.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess unless
Oh no, we're skipping you.
someone's gonna psych me out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So my recommendation is another game I picked up on the Steam Halloween sale that I've been playing lately, and it's called Shadow Tactics: Blades of the Shogun.
Oh my god.
Okay.
What a weeb ass name.
Oh, it's a weeb ass game.
Shadow Tactics.
Blades of the Shogun. If you just look up Shadow Tactics on Steam, it'll come up. There's no other game called that on Steam, as far as I know. It is exactly what it sounds like. It is a stealth-based, real-time strategy game where you control up to 5 characters. It's a story-based game, so you're controlling like 2 to 3 characters at any given time. And it's a stealth-based game, so like it's top down kind of isometric strategy based. So you've got like cones of vision for your enemies if you right click on them. And each character you control has unique abilities. Like there's one guy that's a straight up ninja. He's got a throwing star that you got to go retrieve if you kill someone with it.
Yeah.
You got one guy who's like a big beefy samurai who can charge in and kill everyone within range at the end of his charge. You got the girl that's really good at setting traps. You got a girl that can disguise herself and throw sleeping powder, and then you got this crazy old guy who's a really good sniper.
Okay. Crazy elderly sniper.
Yeah, this is Edo, Japan, where muskets are fairly common.
Okay.
And it's this just this really neat top-down tactical stealth thing where you're controlling multiple guys, and there's this mode where you can kind of pause time and queue up actions from multiple guys, so you can carry out things at the same time.
That's sweet.
Like maybe there's two guards looking at each other, so you get your guys in bushes, you queue up the actions, and then they both come out and cut their throats at the same time and stash the bodies. Okay. It's shockingly difficult, I gotta say.
Okay.
It features a really quick save and load system, so you can experiment with all sorts of different things. It's open territory as far as where you guys can go. It's not linear at all.
Take a look at this.
Yeah, right. I'm curious about it too.
Oh yeah, it would do a lot more justice to watch it on TV, in fact, because it's a top-down strategy game. There's a lot of detail that.
Oh yeah! Wow, it looks really nice.
Yeah. It's like visually, it's really cool.
Okay. Is it a newer game?
Oh, it's on PS4 too.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh.
PS4, 10 out of 10, perfect 10 out of 10 on Steam, 96%.
Yeah, I think PC Gaming Monthly gave it a 94 out of 100.
Wow.
Like it's a really really fucking fun game.
Wow.
There's all sorts of bonus objectives and medals you can earn. But yeah, I picked this up for, God, I want to say like $12 to $15 on the
That's
sale.
what it looks like. It's not expensive.
Yeah. This was on the Halloween sale, and with the Steam Christmas sale coming up, as it's obviously going to be, because Steam sales.
Peggy 16.
Peggy 16. Steam sales happen about as often as fucking school shootings. I'm sorry. You're sure to be able to pick this up before 2020 rolls around.
Wow, that's really depressing.
Yeah. This is an episode about crying, so I mean,
Just as certainly as you can bet that another school will get shot up in this next month.
Right.
Gaben will bless us with more video game sales.
That might be the latest thing I've learned in any episode ever.
So, yeah, so you can see, like, you can select an enemy and you can see their view cone. Okay. Whether you're crouching, hiding, a couple of characters have, they can grapple up to rooftops and run along the rooftops. This is a weeb game for sure, but I love this game.
I love the art design.
Yeah. It's design wise, it's really cool. Shadow Tactics.
Okay.
Blades of the Shogun.
Blades of the Shogun.
I would play this game.
Yeah, we'll have to bring it up on the big screen upstairs.
Yeah, we'll see some gameplay.
But yeah, that's my recommendation. I guess I don't want to rush anyone, but I really got to piss. But we're just up to what we learned.
Yeah.
So we're about to close the episode out.
If you want to go piss,
No.
Yeah, we can stall for time.
Good.
All
I'm
right.
good. Fuck it.
So I learned that we don't need to spend more money on more games.
Except, of course, for Shadow Tactics, Blades of Shogun.
Yeah, which is only like $15. So why wouldn't you?
The Sexy Brutale.
Yeah, right.
I learned. Sorry.
I really want the Sexy Brutale.
Did you look it up?
I did. I did. I really wanted it. It looks cool.
Really cool.
I learned that I just wrote Yosemite Cosby. That's really not. I didn't learn anything.
Why you?
I didn't really learn anything. There.
I'm gonna give you the rootinest, tootinest pills you've ever had.
Yeah, I didn't write down too much. I just wrote Kathy Griffin wants another McRib.
Yeah. I wrote. Would you take a dry McRib over Kathy Griffin? Oh my God.
Yes.
I almost said Kathy Griffin.
I learned you don't have to cry looking at your fat, useless body. Focus on your genitals instead.
Yep.
Exactly.
And there you go.
Unless, of course, you can't see your genitals.
Right. Oof. Big move.
Big oof.
I wrote toothbrushes have feelings.
I wrote like if you never stop crying.
Ever.
Like if you cry every time.
I wrote drink a beer, jack off, cry, go to bed. The new Three Dudes Promise.
Yes.
Three Dudes Promise. That's it. That's all I
Yeah,
got.
the last thing I wrote was that Steve Sales Appen is off into school shootings, which is actually the latest thing I've ever learned in any episode.
That's really that's very depressing.
Go take a piss, dude.
Yeah, have a piss.
Go have
All
a
right.
piss. We'll see you guys next week or
Adios.
whenever
Yeah.
when Ben or if we have a guest on, we'll host.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe whatever. Fuck it.
But it's nice to do one of these back to back a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Kinda reminds
right?
me of the old days.
Remember back in my day, we used to do a little bit. Just stay tuned for the Schmorpin and Dorpin Mega episode, part
boy.
2.
Yeah, actually, I would do that.
I would definitely do that again.
Yeah, the mega episode.
The trick is if we're gonna do that, we need to have we should do it with like whiskey.
Yeah.
And then we should like also
we
have
should spend
topics.
hundreds of dollars on whiskey.
I will absolutely do that. We should blind taste whiskey and then we should do jokes underneath it. Like we should have a topic underneath it while we do it. That's the way to do.
That would be good.
The Smurpin and Dorpin Megasode.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well,
So
then
maybe we'll table that.
yeah, stick around or don't stick around. Go away.
Fuck off. Fuck off. Don't stop listening.
Don't stick around because we won't.
Shut the fucking podcast off.
We will be back in a week or two or something. And thank you for listening. And we'll see you then. And bye.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah, or don't.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.